All right. And we are both live. The last word with the newly minted DCP Ebontis. What is going on, sir?
Oh man, yeah, definitely got a pretty awesome thing happen last night. So yeah, I got to be on Destiny Community Podcast. Shout out to Mr. AR3s who's in here this morning. Apparently you don't sleep much either.
Woo.
But yeah, got to hang out with an awesome group. If you guys have been living under a rock for some reason, I got to chat with. It was Pope Bear. Was kind enough to invite me on, and then it was Tefty Tef, which many of you guys have probably seen. A lot of these guys started the kind of Planet Destiny whole group, and then they kind of shifted off to make DCP. So Tefty Tef, Briar Rabbit, Holtzman, of course, Miss 5000 Watts, and Pope Bear, all five of them.
Nice.
It was so much fun. So had a good time, and I got my face out there now, so the face reveal is legit.
Woo! The cheetah unmasked.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And all in all, just had a really, really good time. So they're just a fun group. Had a good time. I feel like my cheeks hurt after a little while because I was laughing a lot. Because
y'all were having fun. Yes.
Yeah, they were just like their Twitter questions are absolutely ridiculous.
Yes,
they get really crazy out there. It's like, and I love Fallout. When I was looking through the questions, Fallout even asked them, was like, so what is your favorite cereal, and please explain why people who pour milk first have no souls. And I'm just like dying before it even starts. So no, it was really cool. And I got to see Captain Marvel last night, like right after it. So like pretty much a midnight show. Got out of there literally, it was 10:30, walking out of there at almost 2. So it was a late night, but had an awesome time, and then waking up to get back into this one. So, sir, how are you doing?
Doing good, but I'm not letting you off the hook of that DCP. We can talk a little bit more. Listen, man, like
I'm trying to not hog anything here. Just
look, it's okay to accept your newfound stardom, and I'm here to celebrate. I was very proud. Very proud. Just seeing my boy out there. He was doing it up, man. And shout out to Vagabondo in your chat. He was in there too. Like it was just so cool to see your community like in that chat as well. And just like galvanize and just seeing you up there. It was just really cool to see because as I said before, and I tweeted it, DCP, shout out to those guys like and gal. Like they are amazing. That is the Mount Rushmore. And I've been listening to them for so long, and they just have great chemistry, great personalities, and it was just good to see them, kind of plot your journey, and then you kind of integrate with them, and that was dope. So shout out to them, great show. If you guys have not watched it, please. This was the big one. This was the Destiny Super Bowl. My boy was there. He was on the main.
That was my Super Bowl. I was like, I was in there. It's like for them, I'm another guest, but no, they were. That was a big deal for me. I was the one I was actually nervous all day getting ready beforehand and stuff like that, and just kind of hyped. So it was a big deal for me.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to you guys. Hybrid, he said he had a good laugh when they read your gifted sub. I had a good laugh. It's funny you said that, Hybrid, because I had a good laugh. I couldn't believe Briar read my question. I was like,
oh yeah, yep.
This is crazy. That my boy gave me the shout out. I felt good. I felt warm inside.
Oh yeah, no, I could not do that. I mean, you and I have been doing. This is number 52. This is officially a year's worth. I mean, number 50 feels like a year, but 52 is actually because I mean, like 50, 100, those are standard milestones, but 52 is 52 weeks. So I mean, we've been at it for a year. We've been chatting off and on for years. So I mean, there's no way I could not shout you out in there a couple times because that's part of the comfort of the podcast comes from just chatting with you. We do this all the time. So it honestly probably just helped me be able to hold my own in there.
Dude, you did fantastic. You did fantastic. It was great to see. Like I said, the topics were great. Everything flowed. And like I said, just to see your hard work being celebrated is always great to see. So salute, brother. That was a good one, man. I was very proud.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
No doubt. Cheat in the building. So real quick, just yay or nay. I just need a thumbs up, thumbs down. We ain't gonna do no spoilers, but I'm gonna see Captain Marvel on Saturday. I heard some things. Do I get the thumbs up? Do I get the thumbs down? Do I get the thumbs sideways? What I get?
I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Okay, cool. That's all.
I mean, that's literally like I mean, there's some fun bits in there, and there's a certain things like if you go watch a couple interviews with Brie Larson, kind of understanding more on the character. There's certain things I was even telling my wife. They're like, "Oh, you should have smiled more," and she's like, "That's not the character." Like, there's certain dumb things in reviews that people were saying. It's just like, go watch it, go have fun. I mean, I wouldn't put it at the top of my Marvel list, but honestly, it's like it's own thing. It's in the '90s. It's definitely got some good nostalgia bits to it. She definitely like I don't know. I had fun. I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Like I had a good time. Like I'll be curious what you think, but I was like I had a fun time. I mean, I was waiting for like an Avengers preview or anything like that, but no, I was like just stay through the credits as always. It's Marvel, and all I gotta say is like, yeah, she's something. So
man, I won't say it Saturday. I will say it Saturday. Thank you for that, man. But yeah, for me, other than that, man, it's been the same old, prepping and stuff like that. Busy week, website, all that good stuff, and just getting grinding with podcasts and everything. But yeah, it's been some season of the Drifter action. Me, you know what I'm saying? I've been definitely knee deep in it. I got a chance to play a lot, and I want to shout out my bro, Lord Addict is now PC Master Race. He got his rig, man. So he's trying to get him up. He's in his kindergarten phase. So we got him to the Forsaken DLC, whatever. Oh, nice. What's funny is the power surge bounties don't work for him until he gets to level 50.
Oh, you have to be 50 for the power surge bounties to kick in?
Yes, we found that out the hard way. Because we were like, oh, this is going to be easy. He could just jump into Gambit Prime with us. And
so they do actually want you to like play and experience some story stuff and like work your way up a little bit.
Yeah, because he had the boost, the Forsaken boost. To like level 30. So he can at least start Forsaken campaign. But being that we were on, I'm thinking he could just grab the Drifter's power surge to just
the 640s and roll real fast.
Bro. So just a word to the wise for those who are buying Destiny for the first time because of this content. You still got to play a little. You know what I'm saying? So that was Dizzy give me Xbox the Forsaken abandoned. Listen, man, you gotta step your game up, brother. This is the frames, man. You gotta get over here, Diz. It's nice over here. The water's nice. It's not too bad, not too late, man.
It looks pretty on these PC streets.
Yeah, man. So that's pretty much it for me, man. I'm doing a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously touched Division last week. Didn't get a chance to play much Anthem. We'll get into patches. I've heard things and things
some real, some not real. Yeah, that's not actually a thing.
Yeah, but it is very bad right now.
No, I'm not saying it should happen. I'm just saying, it's an issue, but it's not quite as bad, but it's still bad.
Yeah, it's still bad. Yeah. So, I'm kind of just waiting for the dust to clear on that before I jump back in, because obviously we're going to talk about it. We got a big patch coming up. And man, so let's get into what's going on, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so this week, Season of the Drifter, obviously, if you play Destiny at all, launched. And we had a patch that actually came first, so we are going to start there. So update 2.2.0 is a thing. Some good changes, some interesting changes, definitely some PvE meta changes, PvP. I don't know if it changed that much. I honestly only played Mayhem a little bit because that's my easy way to get my games of the week. And have some fun while I do it, as opposed to go do like quick play or something. So I was like, I should probably do that for some powerful gear. Oh, it's Mayhem? Sweet, I'll do that. It's like, I'll just, kill some time.
Yeah.
But the towers changed. We've got the Drifters relocated into the Annex since apparently we know he's going to be used a lot. I guess they want to put him closer to landing zones. So makes life a little bit easier. Clans got some changes.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the whole getting back to the old system? Are you all right with this?
As far as when you say the old system, you mean as far as
literally doing activities and getting clan experience for
okay, got it.
No daily bounties and stuff.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, just play how you kind of want, and then you got some specialized things in conjunction. I don't really have. I mean, they are forcing you to play with clanmates for certain things to get certain perks, and I know we will talk about it, but the level 5 and level 4 perks really excite me. That is more stuff I kind of want to see. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. What about you in general?
I mean, yeah, that's one of those things I don't think they needed to change. Like the daily bounties would have been a nice addition. Like even if it was just one as something to be like, and if it had a decent rotation, but the daily bounties were literally always, except 4, I think, out of a ton, it was always Gambit and Crucible, Gambit and Crucible. And it's like, not like, hey, go do a strike, or hey, go do a Nightfall, with like just random stuff they could mix up the variety. And that's one of those things in this game that still always kind of makes me question how much. I know certain things. I'm not a developer. I'm not going to say it, but a little more variety in all things is generally going to be good. So like a couple more types of bounties, I'm sure we'd see them all, but it's like all I would see is like the same 3 or 4. It felt like, so not having to worry about, oh, let me go pick up my daily bounties, just going to do stuff also is easier. So
absolutely,
I like that. And then the clan perks are cool. Like Chance said, enhancement cords, mod components for both of those, and then the strike catalyst you're talking about, that's definitely a good thing. So
yes, big time. I gotta get I think Huckleberries, a couple that's tied to that, and Warcliffe Coil, I believe, is tied to that.
You're gonna want, well, we'll get to it, but Warcliffe Coil, you're gonna
want. Lord, we're gonna talk about these updates. Yep. I got a lot of real life data to discuss. Continue.
So clans got a little tweak, mostly for the better from what I can tell, and I don't think it's going to be too hard with all the stuff going on. If you play the game, you'll get some clan XP, so that's good. Sandbox, we have some changes, to say the absolute least, and shout out to Fallout Plays and both Datto for their numbers
Datto
testing.
I saw Datto's. I didn't see Fallout's yet. Fallout's, I know Fallout must be exemplary as well.
Yeah, Fallout's handled basically PvP, and Datto handled PvE. So they both put out some awesome kind of covering both. So basically, the gist of the PvP is that range is a bit shorter. Basically, his thing was before was like 9 meters for that prime. Ranged, single shot. Basically, those are generally, he said, it has happened. So it's not like it never does, but consistently it's about 8 meters instead of 9 for those single shots.
In PvP, based on my experience, I would agree. However, there's one gun that is breaking that rule, and rightfully so, based on it's an exotic.
Chaperone.
Oh God, I'm waking up in nightmares, bro. I'm scared that
he covers that. That one's out to like 13 meters, I think he was saying.
No, it's a sniper.
It's 11, but if you have the perk from 1 kill, he said it was like a 13 meter like single shot. So it's covering some ground.
Chaperone is disgusting.
I am so bad with that gun. I have to practice apparently.
Me too. I'm terrible with it. What's up, King? What's going on? That last word. Yeah, man. It's really, really rough out there. So if y'all good with the Chaperone, this is the time to use it. It is definitely breaking that nerf. I mean, rightfully so. It's an exotic slot.
Yeah, it's an exotic slug too. Like if you miss the slug, you're done. So
absolutely.
That's definitely want to keep in mind. But general, they tried to balance, and then when Datto was going through, he said it felt like there were some more options from normal exotics. Parcel of Stardust, he said, was a bit of a surprise from being like a little better than he expected. Legend of Acreus is back in beast territory. But to your favorite, the Lord of Wolves,
all praise is due to the Lord.
Is putting out some because you get 5 shots. It's easier to hit those single bullet crits as opposed to a spread, and it puts out some damage. So I mean, if you do Lunafactions or Rally Barricade on some bosses, and it's got a little difference to it. If you can get in that shotgun range, you can pump out some damage. So that was actually the top dog of the damage, surprisingly. So that was kind of cool.
I was shocked it beat Acreus, to be honest.
I know.
That surprise. I thought Acreus would be the undisputed, champ with that. So it just made me see, because my love for Lord of Wolves, right? I always told you about that, right? Like Lord of Wolves. I mean, you know about my love for Sleeper, but Lord of Wolves in D1 in its initial form, I like the concept of it, which was they tried to make you run like a pack of Fallen, and it would give the people around you a plus 2 or 3 recovery or something like that.
I remember that. Yep.
True story. I got to the only time I got to the lighthouse, that was in my loadout. Bro, I don't know what people would, even Addict and Sinister, they would say, yo, you are so good with that gun in PvP. Like, it's something about it. I just play well with it. And because it's like a short range pulse, so to speak. And I'm just happy to see it. But now I'm on PC. Like, now I'm going to be grinding nothing but spider bounties. I have to get the Lord of Wolves back, man. That's my baby. I got to get it back. I got to get Acurus back too. But it was good to see. I saw that Datto video. very hyped to see that shotguns and PVE are in a better place. So yeah, man. But what else we got? What else we got?
Submachine guns, base damage
Ooh.
increase slightly, precision damage decrease slightly, which is kind of weird.
I got something to say about that too.
All right, go for it. I mean, yeah, you got sandbox, man.
I got
pass the torch.
No, I just got some like real world application.
Yeah.
If you guys have been playing Gambit Prime, here's the cognito tip of the week. Get that if you're able to get it, even if you don't get the curated, get that bug out. What is it? Oh, it's the new sub. It's bug out something. Please help me, chat. Y'all know the name. It's
so
something.
You got me. I don't know it yet.
I'll tell you right now. Pull up the my dim and all that good stuff. It's a 900 RPM submachine. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it is nasty in Crucible. The bug out bag, got it. Bug out bag. Woo! Oh boy, I'm telling you. And I got one a curated roll, and I got one that doesn't even have that great a roll. It is subs. I don't know, maybe that submachine, but it's really, really strong. I was mowing people down, man. Just let you know. So yeah, just shout out to so you might want to dust off the 900 RPMs, see how they go. I haven't given Heroes Burden a shot yet because it's kind of in that same archetype in PvP. Subs are okay. They're a little. At least they felt to me. At least that specific one. So give it a shot.
Yeah. So submachine guns, check them out. Speaking of the pinnacle weapon being pretty powerful. For Crucible, so that's definitely a thing. The Recluse people, and this kind of thing. Some people are like, oh, I'm gonna grind Gambit Prime. And there were certain like content creators be like, I'm doing nothing but getting like said pinnacle weapon.
You already know.
Shout out to Steve French in my chat for the Twitch Prime sub. By the way, good morning and welcome from across the pond over there in UK.
Salute from UK. That's right.
Yep. Machine guns. I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, it happened.
I wasn't looking forward to it though.
Have you tried them?
Oh yeah.
How you feel about it?
Less powerful. Less power. I mean, they still do work. They still have a lot of bullets, but they're not quite as godly as they were. Now I was using Hammerhead. Thunderlord might be a little more powerful with the lightning strikes, but definitely feels like it lost a little bit of the oomph on their punches. So.
Completely agree. I felt the weakness in it. And I'm just I'm scared to touch Thunderlord as a result.
I know I actually haven't used it yet either.
Yeah, I'm like,
don't be completely gone.
I know, because I know the majesticness of Thunderlord. I don't want to see it, any less. But yeah, right now, Hammerhead, it's them Primevals were laughing at me, bro. I was just like, damn, it's not a good look right now. So yeah.
So yeah, machine guns are not quite the be all end all, which is good for variety, but yeah, it's kind of one of those that I wish it wouldn't have been. So the ammo reserves got nerfed by half because you could have 311 for Thunderlord, 340 I think for Hammerhead. So the reserves were bananas.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean that I could kind of see more, but the reduced damage against boss and mini bosses by 21% is definitely felt without a doubt.
Let me say one thing. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Dizzy and shout out to Shadow Kin. He said the new Pinnacle machine gun is a monster. Look, it's still good for invading. I feel machine guns are still good in PvP and invading in Gambit. But if you're talking about pure DPS to a boss, nah, you know what I'm saying? And new Cap King is 700. So, just
Yeah. And so that's one of those things. When I did one of my solo runs on Shattered Throne, I used Thunderlord. So part of that was like, making sure I had max ammo, which that'll be a little bit lower. And the damage reduced by 20% is like I could one phase it with Well of Radiance, but I don't know if I could one phase it now. So it's definitely going to take more, probably 2 cycles and stuff. The one phases are going to be harder for a couple other reasons coming up we have as well. So yeah, next week when Shattered Throne comes back, which will be a good way to get some gear, definitely not going to be, still going to have probably do 2 cycle in Vorgath, and that's still the hardest fight in there. So I'm just thinking through stuff that I've done, changes some stuff up. So
absolutely.
Trace rifles, honestly, I haven't touched them yet. PvE damage increased by 30%. That's pretty substantial.
Oh yeah! Shout out to I suggest you guys get that Prometheus lens and out. To me, Prometheus feels better than Cold Heart. It's just that Cold Heart right now, when you're doing single target DPS, is overall better. But Prometheus right now is a yellow bar and ad clearing machine. Dust off Prometheus, y'all. I'm telling you right now. I've touched that. It feels really good right now with that 30%.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to just dig into the vault and see what the heck is hasn't been used. But yeah, Prometheus with that, especially if you get that nice glowing orb getting bigger and bigger, I can see that thing putting in plenty of work. So we will have to see.
Really good.
Grenade launchers, haven't used them much, but you got PvE damage increased by 25%, which is a chunk. They keep trying to find this place for grenade launchers, and I don't know if it's ever gonna feel like they're worth it. They got reserve ammo getting boosted. In most cases, grenade launchers gained about 3 rounds in reserves. So if you have like grenade launcher scavenger and reserves perks on your armor, you're going to be holding a lot. And if you can do something like rally barricade, most of those drum grenade launchers can put out a ton of damage. I know I was running when I did it was a solo nightfall on Warden of Nothing, for example. Got to the end and I was using Prospector. And dumped like 19 grenades into the boss. Like if I had a full clip, dead.
Really? I don't have it on
and that was before this buff. That was last week. So I mean, 25% damage is definitely something you'll notice because I used the full 19 and that had a little reserves in it. 25%, that's just faster. So magazine perks and mods, and there were some things. Quick access sling was not being applied, so now Malicious Birthright with quick access sling. I remember Astacross talking about that thing's just going to be nasty. So
I love when he says nasty. Like, it's hilarious.
I was like, it's that word. Like, there's certain words he says that just cracks me up. Like, it's going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's his inflection.
I can't even do it.
And how excited he gets. Like, when we go out to Guardian Con, I gotta beat Cross, man. Like, he is hilarious. I love listening to his weapon breakdown. He's like, I'm telling you, boys, it's gonna be nasty.
It's great.
Shout out that Cross, man. Good news.
So I don't have Mountaintop, but I do have Malicious Birthright. So something like that would probably be pretty good too.
Absolutely.
But all in all, yeah, grenade launchers. I mean, they are giving more weapons viability. A couple things probably needed to happen. I'm not thrilled about them because I love my machine guns, but it's like, now there are a couple that we'll talk about in a minute that I feel like got hit harder than they needed to be, but we'll get there. Rocket launchers, damage increase. We talked about it before, 60 to 65% increase in damage. Cluster bomb damage is reduced. But the initial impact from rocket launchers, definitely a big buff. So you can definitely get some more chunks in there for sure. Something like Two-Tailed Fox with the doubles.
Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on that.
Yeah, I've got it. I gotta bring it out too.
You gotta bust that off because remember it got a buff and it got its own buff. I think on top of that when we get to it.
Yep. Linear fusion rifles PvE damage increased by 10%. Does not affect sleeper because exotics, they're kind of doing their own tweaks to it. Reduced aim assist, removed aim assist bonus from combat site scopes, and fixed an issue where Queenbreaker had double aim assist. So yeah, 200% aim assist. Like, oh, I'm looking in their direction. Magically, I just killed them. Cool. That should at least be a little harder to do. So linear fusions are fun though. I mean, there's points where if there's like a void singe and I bring out Crooked Fang and heavyweights on, oh man, it's just broken.
Oh yeah,
and strikes and stuff like that with like a void singe and heavyweight. Crooked Fang is just doing plenty of work. So it's kind of awesome.
Nice.
Exotics PvE damaged for Two-Tailed Fox. Speaking of, increased by 26%. 1,000 voices
in top of the 60. Just to clarify, 26 on top of that 60. The base.
Are you sure? Because I thought they were saying like exotics were tweaked differently.
Oh, you may be right. Yeah, you may be right. It may be.
I don't know, but that's one thing I feel like I've heard. Now, 1,000 voices has a bug right now.
What's up?
They're looking at it. PvE damage increased by 25%. But if you have 1,000 voices, your primary and energy weapon also are increased by 25%.
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of broken. So if you have 1,000 voices, guess what? You are just kind of going to kill some stuff faster everywhere now.
You just
so if you see 1,000 voices in Gambit Prime or anything, you may as well just be like, oh crap.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yep. So that's a thing. They're working on a patch for it, but I haven't heard a date on it yet. Shout out to Shackle Shotgun on Twitter. She always has the breakdown of basically everything. So I caught that in one of her little summaries of the day.
Yep.
And now the big boy of big
Whoa.
boys, Wardcliff Foil. PvE damage increased by 115% against boss combatants and scaling up to 160% against weaker combatants.
Jesus.
So my advice, Wardcliff Coil.
Yeah, I don't have it on PC. That's I missed
Really?
it.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't have. That's what I'm waiting for your Zer video as soon as we get off, because if he's got coil, if he's got two, this is the first time I'm like I wouldn't be mad if he had coil. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be a new Forsaken exotic, but coil is that good right now. So yeah, that's on the list, man. Absolutely.
Yep. So that's definitely one of those, and especially with the catalyst, the tracking on that thing definitely gets a big boost. I don't know if you've seen videos with that one, but the catalyst is worth grinding for, because this thing apparently now is going to be putting in a lot of work. Black Talon, probably like my least used exotic ever. 15% projectile increase on damage. That's one of those I'm just like, okay. I mean, this even is like, I'm still not going to pull it out of my vault. I mean, are you even, whether you have it or not, would you even consider? So
no, that Black Talon, every time I've gotten that, broken. Like I'm not using that, man. I just can't justify it.
It's swords. I don't know. Swords in D1, the exotic swords in D1 were truly like awesome. Like the uppercut for, I can't even remember the fire one. Dark Drinker is the one I remember.
Yeah,
Dark Drinker, but I can't remember. Waves? No.
Raise Lighter. I forget.
That's it. Yeah, that's the solid one. Raise Lighter.
And then there was the
arc
one, Young Wolf for Rise of Iron.
Oh, yeah, that one was weak.
Yeah, it was weak.
But yeah, it was Raise Lighter and then Dark Drinker. I mean, we just haven't had a sword that feels like that. The ammo hasn't been there, and then on top of that, it's they don't have something cool about him. They still just swing them. So
shout out to August Slayer. He says swords are good with Stronghold. That's the new exotic.
New perk? I don't know.
I think because there is a new exotic that Titans have, that when you hold, you get this indefensible thing and energy recovery. It's a really good new exotic for Season of Drifter, and apparently it's Titan only. It looks really sick.
Yeah, actually, I haven't dug into what the new exotics are. I should probably go see what the data farming says. But
it must be Stronghold, because Ogre just said, "Yep, that's the new Titan exotic." That's what he's talking about.
There we go. So, well, new exotics are going to be a while in the making, but we'll get to hopefully seeing some others. Here's where the changes start happening. Sleeper Simulant, reduced ammo reserves from 13 to 9 without armor perks. So your base max ammo reserves is down to 9.
It's like, why do they keep beating up on my boy like this? Like, we already got the 10% linear fusion rifle buff that we didn't get, right? Sleeper Simulant was excluded. I get what the aim assist. It's like this one is just like, I thought we were okay. I thought we did everything we could do to this weapon. Why do we have to still keep? But you know what? We'll get to the next one, and then I'll talk some more.
Oh, it's like the next one's worse.
Yeah.
Whisper of the Worm, reduced ammo reserves from 20 down to 9.
Wow.
I was like, it's in half and then some.
Wow.
And that's so I know. Okay, so if you always make your shots, you'll have infinite ammo. Sure, but I will also say the registration is not always there. Like whether I feel like I hit the crit and it doesn't count it, or I feel like I do and it doesn't always give me the 3 back. You have two mess ups or glitches or whatever, and you're out. Yeah. Like 20 for a sniper rifle, especially for a heavy sniper rifle. If you miss your shots, it's definitely more of a skill weapon now. But man, that is rough. And I think with perks, you might be able to get up to 12, so you might get more. But that's pretty brutal to cut that ammo.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, even Sleeper takes 4. This one takes 11 out of the. Oh, that's just. It hurts.
It hurts. The only thing I gotta defend my Sleeper users is that at least with you guys, you Whisper guys, if you're accurate, you're gonna get that white nail. You know what I mean? You're gonna get some stuff back. Yeah. Whereas with us, it's just like, tough luck, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing I'm thinking about now is shout out to Esoteric. He's got a video up not too long ago where he's soloing catalysts, and he shows some cool ways. So I think I might try to get the catalyst for Sleeper more than ever, because that actually increases that ammo reserve as well as the charge time. So yeah, about that.
Yeah. No, I definitely need to do that. That's Sleeper Catalyst is one. The charge time, if nothing else, but I mean the reserves is good, but the charge time on that one would be
completely worth it. Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So Tyranny of Heaven, I don't the Tyranny of Heaven bow can now drop with randomized perks. Is that the one from Last Wish? Is that right?
Yeah, I believe
because that's the only one I don't know, actually.
I believe so.
Some other general weapon fixes, things like that. Most of it's pretty low key. They said rapid hit on sniper rifles would activate twice on a precision kill. So rapid hit on snipers was doing a little extra work. They tweaked swords a little bit, tweaked the Le Monarch bow, so it's actually working correctly. By the way, shout out to Jotun whenever you do get that gun for killing envoys in Gambit Prime.
I heard it's nasty.
Dude, it's like 1, maybe 2, and I can hold about 15 because it's an energy, and I can put some work in with that gun, still invade and put a little bit in. Like that paired with a machine gun gives me some nice variety of options for both invasion and PvE killing as well. So yeah, Jotun and Hammerhead have been my Gambit Prime run right now. So
I gotta get that.
Yeah, it's honestly RNG in one of the forges, but yeah, it's there. They did some other tweaks and patches and things like that. Abilities, I'm not going to go through all the little ones in case if there's anything specific, let me know. Call it out. Titan skating has been reduced.
Woo!
So all the PC Titan skaters it's less effective. They're not able to completely break it, but it's better. And then also the infinite super for the Code of the Juggernaut has been adjusted. And it needed to happen. I mean, it seemed fun in theory, but if you can break like an entire strike and just keep shoulder charging enemies, there's something not quite right about that. And I play Titan a lot and it was fun, but it's not meant to stay.
Agreed.
And then handheld Supernova, a little Warlock fix as well. Handheld Supernova did not properly render while invading in Gambit. There's, I guess, just too much going on the screen and it kind of broke it. So and then we've got armor. So year 2 armor will now drop with a random stat package, heavy, restorative, or mobile, which is good. It's not like one set is like if this one is always going to be heavy or mobile. So if you do like a look, but you're waiting for that heavy for a little more of a stat run, you actually can get a little more variety there, which is good because not saying it really makes that much of a difference, but having a random stat roll there, if you do like the way that set looks, at least gives you a little more options if you're going for that.
Okay.
Now the exotics, One-Eyed Mask finally getting tweaked. We talked about it before, 15 seconds down to 8 seconds for the mark duration. Health no longer restores automatically, but slowly over time. Can no longer be triggered while in super, so you're not just unkillable.
Right.
How long did this take to get done?
Yeah, that took a while. I'm glad.
Like 7 months.
Yeah, Titans got to feel a little bit, skating and One-Eyed Mask. That was the move out there. Got to kind of bring you back in line just a little bit.
We've got Capri's Horn. Somebody was tweeting about this one, so you gotta let me know what I'm missing here. Increased class energy gain from solar damage kills from 10 to 15%, and reduce the cooldown from 2 to 1 second. Solar Blast Ground Flow now returns a second ground follow back toward the player. Damage from ground follow increases from 80 to 100. Damage from ground follow is doubled in PvE. I don't even remember how this exotic works. Do you have a clue?
Yeah, that was that one with the increase. I believe wasn't that whack one? It was a helmet and all 3 one of the classes got it. I want to say it was that one, but it wasn't.
You're talking about those 3 where they kind of buff each other.
Yeah, it wasn't that one.
No, that one.
Name of that one.
Aeon. It's the Aeon.
Aeon Theory.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Right. Capri, I don't really remember. I can't even remember.
So let's see. Solar. This is a exotic helmet for. I think it's a Titan. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Solar damage kills. Recharge your barricade. Yeah, it's a Titan. Which unleashes a blast of solar energy when summoned.
Okay.
So yeah, I even remember doing a Zer video about that, and I was like, so I put up my barricade and we got a little blast of solar energy. I'm like, I never tested it to know how good or bad it was, but it seems like, yeah, not really. Vesper of Radius. Damage increased from 70 to 100. Damage is tripled in PvE.
Yeah, what's funny is I just got that as a drop on like my first day playing Season of Drifter, first exotic drop in a while. I literally got it back, so I got to test it out. I haven't got to put it through the paces yet. Basically, what Vesper does is, if you're a warlock, it should theoretically be good in something like Prime and Reckoning, because it works when you get surrounded by more than like 2 enemies. Your rift energy comes back almost instantly. It starts to charge up super fast. So you're constantly getting rifts. Now, the initial part of it is when you push the rift down, it sends out a lightning charge to kill like weaker enemies. Like you'll kill thralls with it.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the way it was. But now they're saying damage is tripled. That I got to test out. That I got to see it PvE.
Yeah, and that'll be, as you said, like for our new wonderful, activity with a whole bunch of enemies in it. Well, rift, blast, survive a little longer, get your rift energy back faster.
Yeah,
definitely going to be like a nice variety of an option, at least.
Yeah. For me, my plan on utilizing it is going to be, I don't have Phoenix Protocol yet, so I'm going to try to bust that out on Well of Radiance class. And so I'll have my Well and I'll have my Vespa for fast rifts. So I'm constantly getting rifts and healing. I'm going to try to, right now I'm in the process of making a loadout for Gambit Prime with Vesper until I get a protocol. So I'm dying to test it out. I'll probably test it out after the show. See what's up.
We've got Sealed Ahamkar's Grasp, now procs from Smoke Bomb damage. Ursa Furiosa no longer counts self-damage to Void Shield and calculating how much energy to give back, which is good. I'm not sure how I self-damage my own shield, but that's the thing, I guess. And Entailist Wards fix an issue where Improved Slide was not consistently applying with Entailist Wards, which is a big deal because that's just all about sliding. So, accessory fixes, nothing major there. Rewards, general basics, we've got Power Cap up to 700.
Boom.
Powerful bounties may give only a maximum possible power reward from the season in which they were acquired. So they definitely tamed it down for future seasons to where powerful gear, powerful bounties, anything like that is going to give you stuff that's related to the season that it's in. So you can't carry over, Iron Banner bounties they definitely nerfed, or, Ascendant Challenge bounties. Anything that you would carry forward is going to be pretty minimal. And then raid keys as well, they limited it to 5. So a max of like basically 1 run. Let's see. Crucible updated Valor and Glory emblems to track only the current season's rank accomplishments, little stuff like that. Vendors got some updates. These we don't need to go through in full detail. Shax, Drifters, Zavala, they have their pinnacle weapons, so definitely go check out Shax. Has got a new scout rifle. The one we talked about last week, so that's the Oxygen SR3. Drifter, that's going to be, you're going to be spending time there anyway, and we'll get to that. And then Zavala, also little tweaks there. Now, shout out to Zavala. I don't know when we'll get there specifically, but that Nightfall card has changed.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So to get your 100,000 point score, you're going to need to get back closer to that max light level. Because if you run, because it was a 110 point modifier when you were running Season of the Forge, so 110 from 650, and if I ran like 2 buffs and 2 debuffs, I would be like a 5.5, some ridiculous modifier where points were not an issue.
Right.
On the other side, now if I run a 110 point modifier, it's like a 2 maybe. So it's really low. So now if I bump it up to 160, which would be the cap at like 700 to take me down to 540, the Nightfall levels, it takes it to a 4.05 modifiers, which I used to run like just about everything at. And you can get that, but that's with like Match Game, Blackout, Heavyweight, and the Singe. So definitely going to be some time before that 100,000 drops. I mean, Esoteric may do it tomorrow. Who knows? But for most of us normal people, it's definitely going to be a little harder, especially soloing, for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's definitely going to be a thing. If you're grinding those things out, it's going to take a little while. And then Zur has the possibility of selling Forsaken exotics. Woo! So, yeah, that video coming out at 11 is going to have twofold. This week is just about the Forsaken exotics. We will see what he has. That's not a guarantee. Has the possibility, does not guarantee it. Now, the Faded Engram does not have a chance for Forsaken exotics. Will be updated in a future patch. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know. It's like, really? Yeah.
we're 6 months from Forsaken or 7, and you still can't like at least guarantee something that you're missing since it's been this long in the making. I don't know. I don't know what future patch it's going to be, but if they wait all the way till Season of Opulence, I'm going to be like, really? So we'll see when that actually drops, but at least Xur has a chance of them coming through. So I'll be making my video at 11.
Shout out to Ike Ben Een. He's so hyped for Xur today. Disney's hoping for the Wolves. I don't know if do you think Lord of Wolves can come from Xur? Because I feel like it's tied to Spider.
I feel like that one specifically is. I think you're going to need to go through the Spider bounties to get that one because that's specifically where it drops from. I think the general world ones that are not bounty tied are ones that I would definitely say should be in there now. But that one I think is like what you said, Spider related.
What I'm hoping for is I need me some Geomags. It's time. It's time. It's time, man. I need Geo.
Oh, man.
They give me Phoenix Protocol. I won't be mad.
Phoenix is pretty good.
But I need me some mags, man. I need the mags. I need to experience that Dragon Ball Z. Dizzy know what I'm talking about. I've never experienced it. So, we'll see what happens. But shout out to real quick that new exotic though. Geomags might be in trouble for the you Storm Bros out there, man. Because that I don't know if you've seen it. E, have you seen Getaway Artist?
I literally haven't seen any of the new exotics. So I'm gonna look it up real quick because now I've got to know what the heck this thing does.
All right, all my Storm Bros. It might be time to dust off Stormcaller, man. This thing basically is an version.
I'm reading the description right now. I'm like, okay, you gotta tell me what this is.
Dude, it is an amped up, Sinister has it. It's an amped up version of the Arc Soul. So basically, you charge your grenade, like you eat the grenade, and things stay, and it aggressively hunts things that you can't see, lasts for 20 seconds. Then when you use your Rift, if you're using bottom class Stormcaller, refresh the time rate. This thing is a beast in PvP. It does substantial. I mean, it does decent damage, man. It is really. Shout out to Dizzy. You could actually use it with Chaos Reach too, because being that you want your grenade a lot to get it to activate it.
Yep.
With Chaos Reach, how you get the little ionic traces back. Yo, it is a top tier Stormcaller, lightning class exotic. So
go pull all those grenade mods and put them all over your armor.
Yeah, put your grenade mods on. Get big. This thing, it is an amped up turret version of the Arc Soul. He's like your little buddy. He lasts a long time, and he's much stronger than the standard Arc Soul.
Yeah, the exotic intrinsic perk is Dynamic Duo. Hold to convert your arc grenade into a supercharged Arc Soul that functions as an autonomous turret. And I'm just reading that. I'm like, what is happening right now?
Oh, shout out to F Dale in your chat. I want to get I see Sinister got it. Like I was so jealous. We were in the Crucible. Crucible, and it's literally like he's like one of the 2 tapping people. And the damn Getaway Artist is hunting them down, and it's ridiculous and killing people.
That is crazy.
Yes, everywhere you go, and it does fairly good damage in PvE too, man. It's a good idea, man. Getaway.
If you're in the middle of like the reckoning with that thing, it's just going to probably be going nonstop.
I'm just thinking about 4 or 5 warlocks with it
running. Oh, that's terrifying.
Geomags might be in trouble, man, on that Storm class.
Man. I mean, they're very 2 different. Like one's a super like a boss melter. The other one is like enemy melter. So I mean, that one paired with say like a Reaper build for Gambit Prime would be just start killing ads. Like go to town.
Yeah, it's really good.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I like how that really changes. Like Arc Soul's like pew pew pew. Like this actually changes it to be like that's a build. Like that's what more exotics need to be getting to. Like make it a build.
Absolutely. I'll wait to get my hands on it. Looks fun.
So Abdiel in my chat right now, shout out and good morning. Who doesn't want a little aggressive Arc Soul buddy?
Yep, right.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, man.
So some Black Armory fixes, things like that were talked about. They're finally out there and done. Let's see. Some general fixes were done as well. Yeah. Seeds of Light, Reign of Things out there. I'm not going to go through all the fixes. They're there.
Fix.
Yeah, you guys can look at those if you so desire. Go to bungie.net, read the patch notes. They'll be in descriptions and such. Let's see. Activities hosted by the Drifter have been moved to its own Gambit submenu. So I figured that was going to happen. So I finally did actually change it up. Gambit blocker changes have changed. So we got the Goblin now, the Captain, and the Knight. We'll kind of get into these when we start our Gambit Prime discussion because I want that to be just a separate thing.
Absolutely.
Had you play any normal Gambit this season though?
Yes.
Before we get into Gambit, did you get a sudden death round?
I'm gonna say no.
I actually did.
Oh, how was it? How was it?
I mean, portals instantly open and bosses up and just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fat. Like it does speed that along, but I think as we were talking about on DCP last night, was saying like Gambit should just be one round. I mean, that just feels how it should be. There's Gambit Prime's its own thing, and I like some changes and stuff to it, but 3, like even 2+, it's still a long time. So, but it does shorten it up, so you don't have to go through another 10-minute round for round 3. So it is definitely better that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it basically says the Primeval is immediately summoned. Players' supers, grenades, ability, melee are immediately filled, so both teams are on an even playing field. So it literally like clean slates everybody. Super grenade, ability, and melee regen are increased for the remainder of the round. So you are not quite mayhem mode. It's not that level, but it's like invasion, burns. Like it's gonna be hardcore and quick.
Hold on 1 second. Shout out to Shadow Kid. He's talking about getaway artists. He says, old Arc Soul throwing marshmallow. New Arc Soul throws coffee table full of bricks.
You're like, pew.
Shout out to Shadow. Yo, I gotta get getaway artists, man. Oh, I'm gonna be thinking about it all day. You guys started something. I'm be thinking about it now.
Well, if it's anything like the Forsaken Exotics, I would not hold your breath. You will not make it till next week.
I know. Continue.
Let's see. Gambit matchmaking teams are now always broken up when re-entering matchmaking pool after a match. That's good. I still wish there was more of a solo queue because I mean, even talking yesterday, I forget if it was. I think Holtz is like solo queued once, you know, then got with one person. It's like, and then just as soon as he had like actual a stacked 4 stack, he's like, we were just stomp. And it was just like going against solos. And there's a point where that has to get looked at. Yeah. I mean, I know they're worried about matchmaking times and things like that, but honestly, like the matchmaking times have their ups and downs anyway. And if it was a minute longer, but I play like a fairly more mixed version of like who I'm going against, it would be better. Because when I'm going against, if I'm getting like worked and I pull up the, the roster to see who's in the match, and if it's a 4 stack with the little, giant white bracket outside the 4 of them, I'm like, oh, of course we're losing. Like, and that's not, and it doesn't ever surprise me, but then it's like, then it's defeating and be like, well, I guess I got to play through this one and see what happens. I've probably pulled it out a few times here or there where I just get some great invasions. My team gets their act together, but generally that 4 stack, and especially with Gambit Prime, there's some things you got to know. And if they don't, it's brutal. Like 4 stacks, it's even more important.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about on DCP, and I completely agree. There's still some, literally exactly what you said. And there's also strategies with that end. We'll get into that.
But yeah, Gambit HUD, Infamy, Triumphs and Medals, like changes and stuff like that. So they did increase the Infamy reward points for Gambit matches by 25. So boosting your Infamy speed because we're going to like 15,000 points. So it takes a little while. A whole bunch of fixes and stuff like that. We know the Prismatic Matrix is gone. We knew that was coming. What did you think of the bundles and stuff like that from
Tess?
From Tess.
I think we briefly touched on it the last time, but it's like I mean, listen, I liked my little prismatic. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss them. You know what I'm saying? We used to go there. You get kind of roll the slots, but had a more kind of focused idea of what you could possibly get. So I mean, but at the same time, the other part of me is just like, look, it's cosmetic really doesn't bother me. I know one thing though. I want that Malfeasy, that new version of it, that new ornament. I gotta have that.
That one looks so good.
So good. And it got the red thing on
the red thread around like the back of the barrel and just like the bright green, the engraving on it. Yeah, that one that's the one, one like that. That's the one I would spend the money on because I think it's awesome. It looks so good.
As soon as that they are getting that money. As soon as that comes out, I don't care what nobody say. So yeah, that right there, and low key, I don't know if we talked about. I think I talk about the Malfeasy once in a while, but I love that gun. I think it doesn't get in. I know everybody's on their Thorn and Last Word kick, but it is a dual purpose gun. I mean, I don't use it in standard PvE activities, but I use like Gambit. I have to run with it now. Like that's part of my loadout, and it destroys envoys. Now, Primeval is just asking a lot, but envoys don't even stand a chance. Like literally, I just run out there with the mouth easy, and then in Crucible as a 180, it's so stable. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I love that gun. I have to get that ornament, man. I love what they're doing. But yeah, as far as tests, got no problem, man. I'm not complaining about none of that stuff.
Yep. So that pretty much covers the patch. Quite a few things have changed, and now, obviously, what you guys have been waiting on, Season of the Drifter is actually live. It's a thing. So, I want your initial impressions on Gambit Prime itself, just to kind of understand. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I think it's definitely better than standard Gambit. We talked about the class systems and stuff of that nature. I love that aspect. I love the specific roles. Right now, I'm in my sentry bag. I'm guarding protecting the bank. And I love the new mechanic. I love the new audio cues. I like when
those are nice.
It really makes you feel bad when blockers are on the field. So it's like I had to go back, get them. Not everything is all peaches and cream. There's some things I don't like necessarily, but I think could be tweaked. You guys touched on it on DCP yesterday, which is that first round of the DPS phase with the Primeval, when you do the mechanics, like you got to be very cognizant of the invader. Like if the invader's on the field and you got a third envoy up, do not kill the third envoy. So many blueberries we were playing with kept killing it. Then with like the invader literally knows where you guys are going to set up shop to DPS. So it's like he's wiping out the whole squad.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's the first thing. And then the other thing I learned is that like you can't really go all out in the DPS phase, the first DPS phase. You see what I'm saying? So
no, you really can't. Yeah, for sure.
So it's a little weird in that mistake. I understand they don't want you to just instant melt like how you used to in Gambit, but I think it was Tefty or Holt said it on DCP when I was listening to you guys, which I totally agree. The problem I got right now is that if you, like the heavy is so random that like if you don't have heavy during DPS phases or when someone's invading, you're helpless. Like you're really helpless, man. So that's the only thing I got to figure out how they tweak that. But overall, the mode is dope. The set, like I said, the sentry to collect all those roles that you got on screen. Really love it. Really adds a sense. Love the armor sets, the perks. We'll get into reckoning with the gameplay loop. And the only thing is when in the vidoc where they said, "Oh yeah, it's one round and get in, get out." Yeah, right.
No. For sure.
Yeah, bro. We and you talked about this. Those matches can go really long. Tug of war stuff, like longer than Gambit. So that I got to figure out how they're gonna do. But what about you? What are you feeling now that you've been in there a bit? Where you at with Gambit Prime?
Yeah. So I mean, definitely, if you guys hadn't, didn't catch DCP last night, we covered a lot, but. Generally, for me, I like, and Holt said this well, it's like the 1 to 100 moat phase, really cool. Like he nailed that, like he phrased that well, and I agree. Like I like how, 2 blockers starts you losing moats. It gives you a different purpose. Like you hear blockers, you just be like, I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to wait until we're ready to bank, and then we'll go in and we'll just melt them all together. Like, if you are working on moats, somebody has got to get their butt back there and clear those guys out. It is a must, because if you leave them there for a while, it's like a moat every second or two. It's a pretty continual tick, so you cannot leave them there for long.
Pro tip, make sure you guys that are banking, don't just bank one of you guys by yourself. Coordinate your banks, man, so that when you're putting 2 at the same time on the other person's side and you start to drain them, that's what being Sinister and Attic were doing. It's a really cool strategy. You got to coordinate your bank. Obviously, if no one else has anything, you got like a 10 or a 15, go for it. But if there's any way you guys can coordinate going back to the bank together, it really is effective. And don't go for 15 all the god. Please. Stop with the 15s, man. But that's just me. Continue.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's like the only time I would probably go for 15 is if the other team's already got their primeval up. Basically because they're not going to be invading. If they've used their invasions, you're safe. That's a decent time to send some heavier people over. But yeah, other than that, it can definitely get risky because the way the map's set up, you definitely can get farther away, it feels like, from the bank. And man, the invaders have plenty of places to hide. I do like the new map. I will say that. What do you think of the map?
Yeah, I love it. I like the little moving platform in the middle.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool.
I will say this, that I don't think nobody's talking about. Or maybe, I don't know if you guys talked about it last night. Yo, enemies are not a game. Like,
no.
I had a little bit of arrogance, like it was regular Gambit, and I'm throwing my face and I'm jumping in the mix and I'm not paying attention. I was getting melted by enemies. And I was like, whoa, let me slow down and pick my shots and take my time before I just run out there because I see moats on the floor. Like, those big boys, they'll hurt you, man. And there's turrets. Like, every class has something. And I like that it's almost like a whole bunch of mini bosses running around. You know what I mean? So it's a nice feel. I love the ads. I feel like they add a different dynamic. You have to respect them. You can't just get too crazy.
Did you ever face Fallen, by the way?
I have not.
I was thinking about the same thing. I was like, I know I've faced Vex a lot. Cabal happened. I know Hive, he said bring a sword, but I have not faced Fallen as regular enemies once.
Yeah, I haven't.
Now, I haven't played as many as some, but is anybody in either chat played Gambit Prime and faced against Fallen? Because I really haven't. I played I streamed for 9 hours of a variety of things on Tuesday, but I was like, I didn't face them one time, and I kept waiting to see how that was going to go.
That's a good point. I have not seen them. Anybody in the chat said they've seen any Fallen? I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're going against Cabal, Solar works well. So I mean, shout out to Jotun, by the way, putting in some work. The Envoys, 2 shots, and basically any pair of those are dead. You can hit them from a decent chunk of ways away, tracks to them.
Hold on, they've seen them.
You have had Fallen? Okay, cool. I was like, I just may have had. Yeah, I haven't had Fallen. Yeah, Abdil said he never had Fallen or Scorn. I don't even know if Scorn's an option either. So
Scorn's an option. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean that it would seem like they're all in Gambit, so you would think they're in there, but oh man, Scorn and Gambit Prime, I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah,
because I haven't faced them, but some of those guys,
it's scary.
Yeah, those abominations. They're like beefy snipers. I'm like, what is this combination of abilities? This is terrible. Those abominations, when you run across them, I was like, why are you a thing? Why is an ogre able to snipe me? This feels wrong. I gotta put in a lot of work, and he's still putting work in on
the lightning, and it's quick too.
Oh, dude, it's fast. Yeah. If you turn around in Dreaming City and go to the Bay of Drowning Wishes, that lost sector, those 3 out there, if you're just moseying through and be like, oh, I got one. Oh, ow, damn it. Oh, yep, that guy's out there. Yeah, they definitely get some work in. So Scorn will keep a mix in. I wonder if they're slowly phasing stuff out or adding it in, because I don't know. I know Fallen's there because you guys were saying you guys actually saw it, but no, Scorn, I don't know. So
it'd be interesting.
So yeah, the enemies for sure, don't mess around with them. But the map, the way it's built, as you said, there's the dynamic moving platform in the middle. The verticality of these feel so you're going up on this platform or down around here, or there's enemies actually on 2 tiers above you when you're in the platform area that's opposite of where the primevals basically spawn. And there's just more areas for you. If you're going to go run full circle, you actually have places to hide. You really do.
Yes.
So
great.
You can kind of flank around and actually have a chance, because it felt pretty exposed before to try and do that on most of the other maps. So
yeah, it's a really good map. I love this new map, and I can't wait for that. I believe we're getting the second one very soon, right?
Tuesday, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Because I know today is tier 2 for the Reckoning, which we'll get to in a bit. That starts at 11, and then we've got the map on Tuesday with other stuff on Tuesday, which we'll get to, and then tier 3 is next Friday with the Zur 9 stuff. So yeah, well, there's stuff coming, but we'll get to some thoughts and things. So Gambit Prime, as we were saying, it's like the first, like up to 100 motes, like that invasion scheme, timing that well, like definitely knocking them down, sending over the blockers. That's really cool. When you get to the damage phase of the Primeval, oh my god, it's so long. So I mean, basically, if you guys haven't done it yet, or you're just kind of wondering what's going to be going on, is when you summon the Primeval now, instead of it just being, hey, this is the center, there's 2 envoys, when you kill them, you get a boost to damage, and then it's just sitting there and you're working on it, and just when it stays over time. Now the way it works is there are first 2 sets of envoys that are somewhat split up on the map. They're not like right next to each other, so there's a little travel involved. And the third one is usually somewhere in the same vicinity of the kind of side that you're on. But it'll be the third one that you break and kill will drop an area of effect on the ground that gives you your Primeval Slayer buff. And each full rotation is when that gets to be more powerful.
Right.
Now, the only problem is if you're playing with randoms and they kill that one and then somebody invades, when you're trying to get some damage on, it's a completely wasted damage phase, which is a thing. But honestly, in the first couple Primeval Slayer multipliers, you can't kill the boss anyway. You can only get it down to about a third health. And then on top of that, if they get like 1, maybe 2 kills, the boss is all the way back up to full. And you're like, oh my god. So what do you think about the Primeval, like, because I know we talked about some ideas and stuff last night, but I mean, you may have listened or not, but what do you think about the whole phase, whether it's like capping damage at a third, once you get it down so far, you might actually be able to keep it there, not be able to get like a team wipe and a full heal. And you're like, oh, so much progress is lost.
It's disheartening, and it really extends the matches extra long. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would like a tweak like that because, listen, I don't want to penalize invaders, but I feel invaders are really dominant, man. Like, I mean, it can really, and then with these perks and stuff, and now you're saying, with that first phase, you can't really, there's nothing you really can do to kill the Primeval outright.
Yeah, you can't melt them straight on the first one for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. I figure they gotta try. They're gonna eventually have to tweak it on some level. You know what I'm saying? They definitely gonna have to tweak it.
Something, because I mean, I know invasion's got to be a thing. Like, you get a good invasion, you want to feel like you got something out of it, and then it's just that timing of, and that's kind of the balance where I feel like it is difficult also for Bungie to figure it out, because if you do cap it at a third, say you get a third damage off, first phase, you time it right, you let the invasion come in, then you pop the third envoy, you get a chunk, you get them to a third, you're locked in there. And then maybe you do like a damage cycle, you kill the envoy, you don't worry too much about damage, and you get to that third or fourth stack. And then people do, either Ward Cliff coils or, Well of Radiance timed in with some other stuff, and you can finally like pump some damage. Then you might be able to straight out melt it because you have that third off already, and you're not going to, have the time to even invade and save it.
Right.
So it's like, it's this delicate balance to walk. And I don't know if it's like, maybe the kills don't give as much health back, but you can, and it kind of, and maybe you get like diminishing returns, like up to that third. You can maybe bump it up a little bit, but you can't like send it way back to full. You might bump it just a hair over or something. So you've got a little farther, some type of progressions where you can't just like, hey, we got it down to 2/3. They come in, wipe the whole team. We start all over. Because that dude has some health.
I agree, man. And now you're talking multiple damage phases again from the start, which again extends the match extra long, which is what I thought was not their goal with Gambit, which is to have these super lengthy matches. You know what I'm saying? It was supposed to, the premise of Prime was supposed to be this 1 round intense, balls to the wall, super tension kind of deal, right? And it can be that if circumstances work perfectly, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is there's going to be clutch invasions. There're going to be, multiple phases. And even if you don't, I've seen times when it gets down to the third phase and then, the Gambit wipe and you go all the way back to the beginning again. So it's literally a reset of the whole game. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it on both sides. I'm just like, man, I've been in this match so long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the sake of speed, they really, really might have to tweak that. And I think you're on to something, which is, diminishing returns. There could only be a certain amount after a certain time so that there's not that official reset button.
Well, and it's also the idea of, I mean, if you, and it takes away from roles like Reaper
Mm-hmm.
or Collector for having real purposes because the invasion is so strong. If they come in and you get to invade all the time, so if you have your Primeval up first, you're at a disadvantage because they're still sending blockers over. You're not going to lose the Primeval spawn, but you have to manage those. Managing the envoys, and you have an invader coming over every 30, 45 seconds or whatever the time is. And you're not able to really, if their invader's decent, they don't have to spawn first, and you have a harder time getting damage done because the blockers just keep coming while they're trying to catch up to you. You can't invade them to slow them down. And it's like this tough cycle. Like I was ahead, I don't know, we whooped one team to get to the Primeval phase. It was like 100 to max of 40. Like we were way ahead. They came back and beat us. And had that much time to go through. Now it'd be different if like, you know, they get ahead, but they start invading, but it's still an invasion and you should be able to get those stacks a little sooner. And again, that's where coordinated teams could probably manage that a little better with the stack ahead of the other team.
Yes.
But generally, like, if you are that far, you're like, okay, we whooped him. I had an awesome invasion. I took 15 motes from a guy. We had the blockers on the bank. They really had some struggles. I mean, we just like, you know, stepped on them for a while. Right. For them to even come back and be that close kind of defeats the other part of like the fun of the initial part of Gambit. And I don't know how to fix that.
I'm with you. I think you got it. I think what you said, you know, again, there can only be health up to a certain point. You can't max health. So that, you know, if the invader's getting kills, yeah, it'll get the Primeval up, but not all the way back to 100%. Maybe it goes to 80. Then each subsequent round, it's like, you know, a little less, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think they have to do that. It's very demoralizing, you know, multiple times during multiple phases.
Yeah. So it's like I like the changes to a lot of the mode. Like the 100 modes feels good. The one mode, like the 3 sets of envoys for the actual damage phase, you kind of got to move around. It's not always just going to be, hey, the boss is on the platform, let's kill the envoys, let's melt him. Like it's not going to be that. There's some mobility, you got to move around, and it gives a little randomness to where the encounters are going to take place. Like if you're on the 2 close ones to the boss, you could probably do a Wardcliff Coil, but if you're the one across the moving platform, Wardcliff Coil probably doesn't have the accuracy to do that type of melt. So even that positioning can change strategy per what round you're on. So I mean, that stuff is cool. I like the like motes draining because that actually gives incentive. That's one of the coolest things, man. That gives incentive to the blockers themselves. And then also that also means like if you invade with that full invader set, you have to go push on them because otherwise they're going to stand next to the bank and just drain it all on their own, and you can't just hide.
Love it. And again, I know we had concerns last week about the weakening of certain blockers, but now that they've added that mechanic, it really doesn't matter because just their presence alone drains the bank. So 2 drains the bank. And like I said, it's a cool mechanic, man. Like I said, we've come back by doing a lot of those, you know, 2 and 3 blocker deposits at one time, and it's damaging, man, because again, your natural reaction based on playing old Gambit is to just go out, search the field, get motes. No one's really paying attention to the bank, you know what I'm saying? But when you hear that alarm and you hear Drifter yelling at you like, brother, and that stuff starts draining fast, man. It adds a danger mechanic that I really like. That to me is one of the best new additions of Prime. Love it.
Yeah, so I mean it's interesting. So this is part 1 of Season of the Drifters Gambit Prime. Some tweaks or some adjustments, I guess we'll say. We'll see kind of how things progress as people get better sets and just start stepping on people more, which will be a thing. But the other side is the Reckoning. How much Reckoning have you played?
A substantial amount. That one's interesting because I didn't know what to expect. So, you know, you start off, you do the wager mechanic, yada, yada, yada. You know, I will say this, lore-wise, as much as I complain about them, I actually like them working with the Drifter in this conjunction, Gambit / Horde, you know, rinse and repeat kind of. They're both connected, both activities, right? You play Prime, you know, to get the sense and all that, and then you deposit the sense in Reckoning, and then you kind of wager, and then you go inside, you know, and try to get the gear and survive. So yeah, I mean, it's brutal because you've got those taken snipers up top, everyone's spawning everywhere. You don't really feel safe. as far as hiding and stuff like that. When I went in there a couple of times, they had the rotating, burn mechanic with the polarization. Have you gotten that one?
Like it was Void Singe, Prism, the rotating. Yeah, that's I think. Does it rotate every day? Because I only played I think on Tuesday, honestly, because I've been working.
I played, man. I think I played. One day I played, I was rotating, and another day I played. I was like, wait a minute, there's no burn rotating feature. So I don't know. I got to look at like how that works specifically, but I've seen it without it as well. You know what I mean? So but no, I do like it. And yeah, shout out to Shadow King. Question in the trailer that was in the cutscene. Does anyone get? No, I didn't get a cutscene on that either. I thought we would get that with the Drifter and the 9. So maybe they're saving it for later on during the season. But yeah, back to the mode. The mode is fun. It's hard. The taking definitely are annoying. It's decent. It's not nothing like, oh my God, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I would probably rank it. Still, Escalation Protocol is still my baby, like one of my favorites as far as like those type of modes. So I wouldn't put it there, but it's like in the middle. It's better than Blind Well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more engaging than that. And yeah, it's I'm with it. I'm with it, man. I'm with it. I like it. I want to see. The only thing negative I will say though, it was kind of discouraging to get that low gear, like the low light.
Yeah, like the first one you get like 630, you're like, really?
Like that was like, you know what I'm saying? But like, where you at with tell me about where you at with the Reckoning.
So I mean, this is the part that I was hoping for, obviously being more PvE. I like how they have modifiers on it. I actually didn't expect that, which was good. It seems like the Singe is going to be probably the week. And then somebody said like attrition was yesterday, and then I know the first day was Prism, like the rotating buff. So it looks like they may be rotating through debuffs and stuff like that. So that's actually kind of cool. That it's going to kind of change every day. We always joked about having like modifiers and raids, and this is kind of, there's going to be a pinnacle version of this. Like the tier 3 is going to be brutal. So playing this on the right day definitely might be a thing, because some of those are going to be harder than others. So the wagering of the moat doesn't have the weight that I thought it would, because when it says, oh, wager a moat, but then I was like, somebody in one of my comments was saying, oh, you can get it back even if you die. Like, I'm like, well, then where's the stress to like survive and work together and hopefully not die? It's just like, well, if I don't, I'll just stay in here and do it again. Like, I do like that you can stay in there. Yes. Now, I wish that you didn't have to have a synth to go in there. Yeah. Because if I didn't want to go play Gambit Prime, but I want to go do the Reckoning practice or go help some friends, but I don't want to go do a Gambit Prime match first, I just wish that requirement wasn't on there. I mean, I understand you want to bank, but you don't have to bank and you can still go jump in. Because I honestly was like, I jumped in with like 3.5 minutes. I was like, well, I have no idea how long this timer is. I'm just going to jump in and play before I wager my first one. We did it eventually, and then it went. But just the wagering, we only get tier 1 right now. Right. As we're getting 630 drops, I was like, oh.
Do you think, let me ask you a question. Do you think as we go to tier 2, because tier 2 is today, right?
Yes.
Right. So as we go to tier 2 and tier 3, do you think that the wager mechanic will actually hold weight and you won't get it? Maybe this is kind of like to set up the introduction with tier 1, so they're being nice as far as giving it back.
I mean, that would be a weird inconsistency thing if they did it that way, because you would establish that, if I bank and I fail, I get it back. So if you, wager the 2, which is now going to be more expensive for an attempt, and then it says no, then if there's not a pop-up, a warning, or anything that says, if not completed, you will lose these modes. Like, are you sure? Like, if that's not popped up like once, or any explanation to like tier 2 being different, then I think that's poorly done. If it's not a consistent message.
I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Gives it more weight. Definitely make sure, like, hey, I might want to have a couple friends on, but it is matchmaking. I think the level for this one's going to be like 670. So it's definitely jumping pretty quick. And then tier 3 is supposed to be kind of in-game 690 stuff for sure. Multiple phases on tier 2. Tier 3 is probably going to have even more. And mechanics, it looks like you have in the little video thing that they did, which we're not going to watch, but the video about the Reckoning, they show tier 3. They show the knights that go smashing around and doing everything. Those guys are always terrifying. So I'm guessing those are in tier 3. It looks like we've got this bridge in tier 2 with like the ogres and stuff. Like we're gonna have to like do the first phase and then maybe cross the bridge for tier 2, and then maybe you have to get inside the cavern, like the dark space that we see in the trailer in tier 3. Maybe my hunch how that goes. I don't know.
I agree. I think there might be some truth to that. Maybe it's all connected, with each tier.
But yeah, it is taking enemies like all the time. What are your thoughts on like pretty much? I don't know about there are taken war beasts. That's like they did one new enemy. I'm like kind of woo, but
I saw the meatball in there.
Yeah, the meatball was in there as one of the bosses. I saw him. I saw one that looks like Drakion from the Pyramidion.
Yes,
like the big, and he's a sniper boss, so he definitely is one to watch. Can hurt. So they got decent boss rotation in there. I saw a Centurion, stuff like that, but they're all just taken, which take it or leave it, but taken sometimes has its annoyances.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I mean, let me tell you right now, if you guys haven't been running any raids, you need to run that last wish.
That
taking armaments. Woo! Luckily, I got one, man, on my my class item. Getting that heavy in there so much feels so good. Oh, such an important little thing. So taking armament mods, if you got them, this is the place to use them. Really good. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to me. I'm not like, again, I'm not wowed, but I'm not like upset. Like, oh, this mode is not. It's tough. You got to work. You know what I like? I like the fact that you got to revive your friends.
Oh yeah.
Do not go in there thinking that you just going to try to solo stuff, because that time that you're wasting during the dominance phase, whatever they call it, like you've got to be coordinated. You can't it's a little tougher sometimes if people are not paying attention and you're playing with blueberries that are just worrying about what DPS they're doing, because you need everybody. It's about speed, you know what I'm saying? And you got to get that dominance meter thing up so you can start spawning more stuff out. So that mechanic I actually like about it, because it adds a little bit more tension to it. But again, it's right in the middle for me. I don't have it above Escalation Protocol, probably right below, but it's definitely not a blind well, trash kind of mode that I don't like. But where do you rank it? Where are you having it?
I mean, it's all right. I'll be curious how the challenges get on tier 2 and tier 3, because right now it's kind of walk in and work it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Not really that big of a deal. So it's fairly reasonable mode. I wasn't sure, and then when you kind of figure out just you need to start killing stuff, taking out the big boys, and then get the boss in there, and you seem to have plenty of time to melt the boss. He's not really too hard, so they did make it accessible on day one, which is kind of a good thing for that loop to get you going. But then in turn, unfortunately, we get to the side of like the armor sets. Like, what is the whole point of this loop? And this is what we were talking about yesterday on DCP. And it's the loop of play Gambit Prime for the synths that you get from either doing bounties or doing activities. And shout out to Invasion synths, because those just seem to come quicker because I invaded more often. Collectors seem to be like impossible to get. Then you take the synths, you put them in the wager bank in the Reckoning, you go do your activity, you get a piece of Gambit gear that is, unless it's a weekly bounty, is going to be 20 points lower, just like a random engram. So you're going to have to get some infusion in there. Infusion still having, enhancement cores. That kind of takes away the instant use, because when you go into Gambit, you've got PV like power level actually mattering on invasions or being invaded. I'm just adding all this stuff on. And then on top of that, the sets that you get are only useful in Gambit Prime. Not even just Gambit Prime only.
No, you're right.
So, like, if you love Gambit Prime, sweet, this is going to be an awesome loop for you. If Gambit's really not your thing, then the whole armor set, like, grind is kind of not so much.
Yeah.
Before we even get into, like, all the, like, skills and talking about those, like, I mean, I know I basically sound like I built that thing up and just chopped it off of its legs. Like, what are your honest thoughts about that loop? Because for me, I have some frustrations with it. It's like, I understand this one is like Gambit Prime, has some lore or, some reasons to it, but like, I don't know. What do you think?
It's a tough one, because I think this is kind of new territory for them, in a sense of them trying to link two separate activities that are required or based on each other, right? So I mean, listen, it does suck that when I start the reckoning, the Gambit gear really, it's not doing anything for me. The Gambit Prime, right? So that part's a little frustrating because I want to really rock that gear, and I know it's not going to have the perks and stuff, but it just seems a little weird. To your point, you've got some valid points there. I mean, I just have to see the reason why I'm going to put my Pope Bear hat on right now. I've got to see more before I declare this some type of broken mechanic. I want to see where they go. I want to see once tier 3, what happens. What are we getting? What do we do? Maybe there is something that reveals itself as we get to the tier 3 record. Because the vibe I'm getting from you is that you really struggling with reckoning more. Or just
it's the loop of both. I like Gambit Prime as a different way to play Gambit and its thing, and then Reckoning having the rewards and Reckoning as the main purpose is these armor sets. But I can't take them into Nightfalls. I can't take them into Strikes. I can't take them into Raids, Patrols. They're just random gear like anything else. And say I don't get machine gun reserves or fusion rifle scavenger or a perk I've got on it, there's no reason for me to take it into anything else. It's just a random roll of armor at that point that looks different because it glows. But other than that, it serves me no purpose outside of literally one bubble on the director. That's it.
I feel what you're saying.
So it's very, very specialized.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the point of, okay, for one, you have 4 different sets for 3 different characters. Welcome to Vault Space Hell. Which I already deal with on a daily basis because I'm a hoarder.
Yes.
I was like, I am. Anybody who watched my stream the other day, it's brutal and it's wrong. I know. But that's a thing for even people who have some stuff in there. You're like, okay, now I'm about to have, so let's see, 3 characters, 4 sets of armor, 5 pieces of gear. Do the math on that real fast.
Yeah,
like 3, 4, 12. It's, that's like 30 some pieces of gear. Like you're talking about a lot of crap. So it's a lot to hold on to.
Yes.
And it's still for one mode. And that's kind of the annoyance is that I understand the perks are specifically for that. Hey, if there's a raid set, it's that. But it's like this is where I think it's more testing, more let's see how this goes. Let's see how we can iron out the functionality of a set in a certain place. Because sets for everywhere, like where's a Vanguard set that helps me in strikes and story missions and patrols? Where's my raid set that gives me, if it's not a Reaper set, it's a Last Wish plus bonuses or whatever, and you can get some increased benefits to those. And the worst part is they brought it up yesterday, and I actually hadn't thought about it that way. You shouldn't honestly be getting any of this stuff right now. You should be saving your synths because you're going to eventually want to just go for the tier 3. Those are going to cost 3 synths instead of 1. So really the point in this level 1 and level 2 gear is next to nothing because sadly you're not going to do much with it.
I hear what you're saying. I mean,
there's not like a node that says upgrade this initial piece of armor. They have different names. You make a different moat, you wager it for tier 2, and then you're going to get that tier 2. So it's literally like put tier 1 and tier 2. I mean, I forget which one said it last night, whether it was Tefty or Pope or Breyer or 5,000 or Holtz. That's I'm probably talking like 6 people. I was like, I don't know who said it. Just power level. I think it was Breyer was like the one in that instance. Was like just literally level. Do your powerful engrams, work on leveling up, spend your time doing that. If you're gonna raid, get some of those taken mods and stuff from Last Wish. But then again, you turn around and you go back to the same thing we went to in Season of the Forge, going back to the same content we've been grinding, and it feels slow as hell.
Yeah,
it's like everything on the director is 1 health. Or 1 level. It's like
really that is disgusting. Let's get in. Let's talk about it. Like I played it for a bit. I did a couple of powerful, drops, powerful gear activities, and it's giving me +1. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like I literally was dismantling stuff. I was just like, that does not feel good. Like you doing powerful activity and you play, and then a point that Tef made that I have to agree. The problem with the annual pass format is that with prior DLC, say what you want about Curse of Osiris or Warmind or what have you, but when those DLC started, you felt the Destiny world had changed, right? You felt the rest of the world. The problem with these annual passes, this is like very pocket based. Like, the Black Armory is a pocket based thing. And then when you're playing it, you still got to do Dreaming City, all this other stuff, the same stuff you've been doing. Right now, granted, that in order to level up, right? Like, it's not that you're just doing nothing but Black Armory stuff exclusively. You're not doing nothing but Gambit Prime stuff exclusively. You still got to play this other stuff. So the old DLCs, it was one of those things where the world changed. You notice differences. You have more power sources, more vendor refreshes. Things changed as a whole. The annual pass seems like it's so pocketed in these little corners. And that I have a problem, because it's like we're still going back to doing the old things that we got to do, you know what I'm saying, just to level up, as opposed to just staying in this new content.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those points where if I'm going to be doing powerful gear and drops, like, make the directors be like 2 or 3, so I start feeling, but make those prime engrams higher. God forbid we get up to 700. Like, they're worried about time. The main reason they're doing this is because they want tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 to not be farmed. But you literally go look up on Destiny Tracker, like the highest level in 2 days, by the way, which is just bananas, because I feel like my light level is like 650. So my Titan, I played a decent amount, not a ton. I played mostly Tuesday. I haven't played as much, and I got to 656. So I got some levels.
Yeah,
I didn't go run both raids on all 3 characters. People are 686 today.
Wow. I
mean,
well, they're rated. They got to be rated, right?
Yeah. So I mean, but you see, like, the top 30 people are 680 and above. So I mean, you take an activity that's 690 and you just took the challenge out of it because they can still grind. So, their whole worry about time gating pieces of like, hey, we don't want you to be too high level, so this Reckoning tier 3 isn't too easy.
Right.
For the people who know life it anyway, I Dizzy 686. I'm going. I don't understand.
There's got to be some new hustle, man. I mean, we know prime engrams are definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing as primes, but I mean you'd have to do like both raids on every character. You'd be doing 100,000 point Nightfall, which at 680 you probably could start doing. Every piece of gear, and there's some RNG to make sure you got like all your slots continually getting filled. But like, I mean, and this is again for the not everybody, and this is also kind of a problem, is because say for the people who do know life it. And then they get these tier 3 sets that we're talking about. They're the ones that actually have the really good perks too. We'll get to in a second, because apparently this is going to be #longpoint.
Yes, sir.
Because it's already been a minute. They're going to have those. They're going to start stomping people in Gambit Prime even more. And then you're like, oh my God. Like, so
yeah,
the people who casually come in, a solo person at no level, no new gear stuff, and they see somebody glowing in red, mopping the floor with them, standing by a bank, absolutely destroying their team, and then they're higher level, and then they melt it, and they can't touch. It's just like, it's this continual thing, and I'm just going, there's an issue there.
Yeah, I mean, and then we got to shout out to Philly Eagles making some points as far as light level. I wanted to kind of compound that only from the standpoint of, besides that, you still have the enhancement core issue, which is preventing you from jumping up the way you want to jump up. That's still, a lot of people feel strongly about it. And a lot of people feel that it's inherently just something to slow you down and time gauge you. And when I see, to me, let's call it how we see it, Eve. Since the annual pass structure has been released, everything is to hold you at bay until this week and then that week. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's this force holding kind of deal. And I don't know how I really feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to kind of do what you want to do and not feel like you got to wait till next week for this and wait for next. The drip feed content is okay to an extent. I don't mind it with the lore stuff. I didn't mind it, finding about Aldrin and all that stuff. That was cool for lore. But like, I don't know, man. It just, I don't know necessarily how I feel long term with this annual pass structure. It's not the worst thing I've ever played. I'm not saying, oh my God, this is Curse of Osiris level, or this is like, whatever, Crota, but it's just the time gating, and definitely enhancement cores, definitely master work. That's another annoyance where it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You're going to give me all this new Gambit Prime armor at 630. How many, not everybody's a hoarder of enhancement cores. Like when you have
Hello.
4 sets of armor, and if
Which,
you're going to be able to get all of those, and you're like, hey,
mhm,
let me test them out and see. But
which
if I'm going to
then,
make myself 630
yeah,
instead of 650, I'm
mhm,
weaker against invaders and everything. It's
yeah.
like,
It sucks. And which then goes into this whole thing again, shout out to Philly Eagle, which is they really need transmog, right? Because then I gotta look ugly, wear stuff with perks that are not synergized just because the light level is higher. Just because in order for me to do harder content, and like I got stuff sitting there and I'm like, damn, I really don't want to wear this because I have to, I don't want to infuse this because I need this for it's just too many of this unnecessary decisions that should interfere with the light process. And I don't know how they're handle it, man. I think they're so worried about people power leveling, but as we see with their 686s running around right now, people are still finding a way to get around it. So I don't know, man. I still struggle with annual pass structure right now.
yeah, I'm with you. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out something with work, so I was a little distracted in a text.
I can run my mouth if you need me.
Yeah, no, it's like,
Yeah. It's just one of them things where it's just like, shout out to Dizzy said, I feel by the time I get the cores ready, then I got to get ready for a level boost. Facts.
yeah,
Facts. Like that is literally the issue. Because again, not everybody is running around with a whole bunch of enhancement cores. And they're still not readily available. Yeah, they kind of help with the scrapper bounties a little. You get one here and there, you get
yeah,
one on a breakdown.
mhm.
There needs to be a guaranteed source. Give me an activity. You know what I'm saying?
5,000 shards. Let me buy a few of them.
That's what I'm saying. Can we
Like,
make somebody useful? Like, can we give Brother Vance a job?
sir.
Can we give Zur a job? Can someone have some damn? Can I stop going to Spider and he keep doubling the price of the brick out here? Like he every time I got him for 10, but if you give me some now, I'll flip it and it'll be 20, and then it'll be 40, and it'll be. I'm tired of this drug exchange. I got to deal with this man because he would have hustled me every time I go to the Tangle Shore. Just
yeah, buy that one. Okay, now it's more expensive. We got that demand just went up.
Yeah, it just went up, man. Yo, the price
They've been selling right now, so
yo, these cores is going up. I give you 40 shards, 80 shards now. And then you got to wait to the reset tomorrow. I'm like, come on, man. Like it's such a time gated mechanic. They don't want you to get these cores that you need for leveling. It's funny.
yeah, I don't, and that's a design philosophy. They've like thought about it because I've seen people like their Cosmo taking feedback about it, and it's a huge thing. Is the enhancement cores is my brother hates it, and I totally understand it. It's another thing like that you really want to grind up to 700, doing more of the same stuff, and it's don't make it as big of a deal on the power level stuff. Let us like infuse for nothing because God forbid people get to high level content. And Dizzy said it in your chat. It's like no, or Philly Eagle did.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's a major issue when the light level shouldn't make content easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a major flaw that Destiny has had for a lot of this stuff is the Forge was harder at first, but now it's basically a joke once you're high enough level.
Oh my God. The addict is out of control. He said, y'all gonna have to wrap this up. I reserved a date with Lord Cognito for Destiny at 11. This man is PC trying to get his grind on, trying to end the podcast. He out of control. Continue, E.
Oh no, you're good. But yeah, it's a issue that seems to be apparent right now, and it's one of those things that we have to wonder what is going on. And we've talked about it multiple times. What is D3? What does September hold? Is there a wait? Is there is there a point of is taking the focus away from D2 to put on D3, like sacrificing some content here? Are there decisions they're even making? Are they good?
They're holding us off. I mean, let's just
call it's like, and then the question is like, when do you think it'll be ready? It's like, it's been in the works, but for them to do it right and well, like they're going to be looking at some bigger changes again, which probably need some testing, some people flying out there, or to make sure they don't butcher like a D2 year launch and just ruin everything again.
Yeah.
So there's just so much up in the air. It's like I don't mind the activities and mix it up in Gambit, but even as like it was either Briar or Tefty was saying, it's like Gambit's one of those things I'm not just gonna know life.
Right. Facts.
And we are gonna have coming up on Tuesday, we're gonna have the Allegiance quest starting where you gotta pick Gambit or I say Zavala, but the Vanguard.
Mhm.
But you got to decide if you're going to support the Zavala, basically, in that. I feel like Ikora gets the shaft because Zavala
yeah, you're right.
So it's like it's a bad kind of mix that you got to screw one to not like the other. But yeah, I'll do Drifter on one character. I mean, if you have multiple characters, that's good. And if you have the annual pass, then hey, honestly, just use the 640 power boost and go do the other quest. Like you should see them both because it'll be interesting what that has.
Yeah.
The bounties of the 9, I'm intrigued about those. Those are kind of interesting if there's any story or lore or anything.
Very excited about that, actually.
Just to explain just a smidgen of any information about that is a good thing. But just this like Gambit Prime, very focused single armor set loop, nothing else. And I even said it yesterday, it's like take some of the Nightfall exclusives. I'm not saying it's easy to make a weapon, but man, go put something else in there for me to grind because there's certain strikes I'm like, yeah, if you have your duty bound, you got your, Savathun Song auto rifle. That thing doesn't even have random rolls on it.
Yeah.
The strike exclusives for many of the strikes outside of a few don't have random rolls.
Why aren't the loot? Sorry to cut you, but why hasn't that been updated? Like,
I mean, that's what even Tefty was saying. It's like, give us some more year one loot. I mean, it brings back to Holtzman's points of like, you're still grinding the same stuff over and over, but at least it might have a little bit of a refresh to it. Like, give me a Manananan that has random rolls.
Absolutely. The assets are there. They're literally sitting on all these assets and armor pieces and weapons that they introduced that they just not using. So again, the vibe I'm getting, again, not making any excuses for it, is just that, this content is to hold us off during this whole transition. And then we'll see if anything does prep for September or, they say, hey, they're going all out for D3. But yeah, I agree. I
mean, they say there's new weapons on armor. There's one exotic that I've heard of, at least. And then there's, 3 armor pieces?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got a few to grind for. They're random this time. They're not actually from the activities because Gambit itself doesn't really work that way. And you got some that look kind of cool. I think somebody's saying the hand cannon's like 150, so somebody's intrigued about getting that one. And each one of these weapons specifically has a specific perk to it.
Yep.
So those are also a thing that, like, okay, so you're going for some random drops. I got the curated shotgun, I think.
Yeah, you got the curated. Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to see what the new. Hold on. Shotgun, last man standing. So for mine, perk on it was actually nothing special. I know one of them for sure. Like I think it was like the hand cannon or one of these things had actually a cool perk on it, and some of these had new perks. Yeah, so we've got overflow. Picking up special heavy ammo reloads this weapon to beyond normal capacity, and it's a hand cannon.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And it's got explosive payload. Okay. So while it may not be the best, it's actually got the chance to have that in there. You've got 4 times the charm on this hand cannon. So that's, landing precision hits will return 2 rounds to the mag. You got substance, which is a new perk. Kills partially reload the magazine from reserves, but reserve capacity is reduced. So that's kind of a trade-off of like continually being able to do more, but you give up your reserves. You got rapid hit and threat detector and field prep, and I don't think. Oh, you got multi-kill clip. Reloading grants increased damage based on the number of rapid kills made beforehand. So I mean, and then you got swashbuckler. This weapon gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon.
Okay.
So, I mean, there are some new perks in there, but they're literally limited to like 6 guns.
Yeah.
They're not going to start rolling on like a new trust hand cannon or something like that, to my knowledge. They're not going to change into the old stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just clear design choices. They did kind of the same thing with Black Armory, right? Because you had exclusive perks that you could only get from weapons in that thing. And this is the direction they're going. And again, the only thought process I got, and I'm going to keep reiterating it, is that they are holding us off to prep for whether it be the fall content DLC or, D3. You know what I'm saying? And they are sticking to this drip feed stuff during all the way until season of the opulence, and then after that we will see. But I think they got to go back to the old model, come September, because again, it's a competitive space out here. We're gonna talk about Anthem, we're gonna talk about Division, and this is cool for a week or two, and like right now, this is good for us because we can actually play multiple games with this structure, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I think. Bungie's just being nice, so we can actually get to enjoy. I mean, you got Division, Anthem's out doing its ups and downs, but it's like it's continually being supported, whether it's got a lot of stuff to fix or not. They are trying to stick with it,
right?
And then you've also got like me. I'm gonna play Sekiro. I'm sorry. Thanks to Miss 5000. Let's Sekiro.
Sekiro.
I was like, I finally figured out how to say it. Thanks, sir. But like that's a Dark Souls game. That's going to be like 30 hours probably easy. That's a chunk of time. That's going to be something I enjoy. And for me, I intend to play Gambit Prime is like, yeah, it's like really go in, do some powerful gear, see however you get it. If you're going to raid, do some of that. But your grind for tier 3 or Gambit Prime, if you like Gambit Prime, cool. But the other stuff like can wait, and there's not really a rush on it. There's really not.
Which is weird as a Destiny fan, right? Isn't it weird that like we play a little bit, get everything done so quickly, wait for a week here, wait for a week there. Like I said, I mean, it's an interesting strategy. We just got to see, because like you said, all these other games are getting, Anthem's going to improve. They're going to keep trying, and they don't seem to be giving up. The devs seem to be working very hard. We're going to talk about that patch. Division, we're going to talk about this end game. We're going to talk about every time I'm turning on, they are telling me about some new thing that you can do for end game. It's man. It's a lot. And then we got all these single player games, right? You got a lot of stuff. Devil May Cry dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot.
It looked like it got some pretty good reviews too.
Yeah, you got, how you pronounce it? Sekiro?
Sekiro.
You know what I'm saying? You got that. The Dark Soul fans are going to be, this is interesting. That's why it's going to be curious what happens, going forward. But I mean, again, I don't want to trash Season of Drifter. Like, I'm enjoying myself. Don't get me wrong. But we are both we still see some flaws here and there. And we just hope that as it goes on, hopefully with Season of Opulence, that we get more, that we get with each content drop, we should be getting, what happened to new strikes, new Crucible maps. Comp is a mess right now. Like, let's just call it.
PC is worse than console too.
Yeah, PvP is a mess right now. Like, there is no end game. They already told us we ain't getting trials no time soon. We don't know what else. Like, if you're a PvP guy like me, I'm just making my own thing because there's sandbox changes and I want to test.
At least leave Mayhem in there all the time. So if I want to burn off Steam, I can have some fun. That's like, exactly. And that's the thing. Crucible Labs is currently mostly being unused. They've tested it like 2 or 3 times. That could be something where they even like, just give us an attempt at, either Rift, which would be a nice thing to have back for a different mode. Elimination, throw it in Crucible Labs. Just people be, hey, go try it in there. Have some fun. Mix it up. Like, see what happens if the 3v3 magic is there or not. But all of those things are, it's just this compounding thing of right now is a time when Destiny is not like if front and center, because especially if Gambit isn't your thing, there's low incentive to jump in, grind your stuff again. And there's a lot of other stuff barking at your door and people are like, yeah, I'm going to go play Division 2 next week, or I'm going to go play Sekiro the week after that, or I'm going to play both. Like, I don't have time to play 60 games at once, much less try and, no life something that right now is very, very limited in scope.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, a lack of additional things to this annual pass, whether it's a strike, whether it's, a quest every so often that pops through, and the Allegiance quest, I will be curious. In the 9 stuff, I'll be curious because but that's like your pop in on Tuesday. That's not like make it my hobby.
Right.
So that's the big difference for me, is that it's no longer the continuous, I want to keep playing, I want to keep working on stuff. The grind, if there were like 6 different armor sets, maybe that'd be a thing, but not so much. So
yeah, great. Yeah, I think you nailed it.
But yeah, we've got the armor perks. If you guys want to look at them, the cool ones for Reaper, that's the one where you basically clear as many enemies as possible. The big one is defeating powerful enemies grants a temporary surge in grenade recharge rate. So if you clear that one, I feel like that one's kind of lackluster. But honestly, the +3 of defeating a high value target, marking it and weakening it. As soon as I did that, those guys did drop fast because I went Reaper and I have a full set. So those guys dropped a little faster. The loot pinata or the pinata of death for special ammo, which is good. This will like the 10 stack for the Reaper. The motes lasting longer is more valuable than I swear almost anything else. Like
motes disappear super fast in Prime. In my opinion.
I mean they do in Gambit as well because like, but they feel like in Prime you're like either farther around the corner, you don't realize they're there. It's just like a little less obvious. You don't see the beams all the time.
Yeah, because of line of sight and stuff.
Yep. So like that one, I feel like if that 10-1 was maybe where 6 was, and then 6 was a little more than just dropping special ammo, because I don't really tend to run out of that. I was running Jotun, and I don't think I was really hurting on it. If you mix up what you're shooting, you're probably okay. So that one seems lackluster to me. Collector. Now, I want to see what a giant blocker is. I want to know what that is.
Facts.
What do you think it would be? Big Ogre?
Big Ogre, right? Because didn't they get rid of the Ogre before?
Yeah, they got rid of the Ogre, and I think that's the one that makes sense for, pushing people off and kind of really having a crazy health pool. Like that would be one that could really make a difference. I mean, holding on to 20 motes sounds terrifying.
20 motes in that mode.
But that's where I mean, if somebody's running that collector set, dude, you sacrifice your body. You throw your body in front of that bullet. Like you go Secret Service on that guy.
Yeah, I like armor though, because if you're mote collecting and then you get a little overshield, you know what I'm saying? Because it get a little dicey sometimes. And then think about mote collecting, and the invader comes in. Hey, every little bit of shield helps. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Drop a portion of your motes carried on death. So even if you are in the mix and kind of doing that stuff and you die, your buddies can kind of help some of that.
Yeah.
And then when you bank, you get some ammo back. So I mean, running something like Jotun, you're never gonna run out.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, cashback. That's a good perk, especially when I get my hands back on Lord of Wolves. I don't know. Use them.
So you got Sentry. So multi-kills grant a damage buff against Taken. So this one's kind of Sentry's a little weird. It's very specialized on
it's my baby.
The blockers and stuff, but you have to go get multi-kills and a damage buff against Taken. So I mean, but the way the way this map is set up, if you're if it doesn't last that long, and you're the one who's meant to kill the blockers, you're either hanging towards the middle and trying to pick stuff off and like doing your job, but where are you going to get your multi-kills from to get your buff of Taken?
Yeah, that part gets a little tricky.
Like that's weird. So
you have to have a balance of killing and going back. Like that's what I have to do. I like kill and going back, killing.
So that would need to last long enough, I guess. Would say.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you're out there getting mixes and kills and it clears, I guess it clears when you damage a Taken combatant. So it stacks up to 5 times. I guess go run with your buddies, do that, and you be the lead back if there's guys there.
Yeah.
Safe and sound, standing near the bank triggers health regeneration. Ooh. So I mean, if you're near the bank and you got to take out some of those blockers, you might get some health to save yourself to do that. Damaging an invader marks them for your team. That's a must. That's a big one.
I'm snitching. He over there. That's my new thing. Yeah, he's over there. Like, oh, I can't wait to get that. That's my whole goal with that class.
And then now this is weird to me because it's very specifically, or is the Well of Light the buff on the ground, or is it because Well of Radiance is actually the class? I was thinking this was just Warlocks, but yeah,
me too. I was like, is this a Warlock to get first? Yeah, this is the Well of Light during the
resilience, mobility, and recovery. While in there, so you're basically helping. Like when it comes to damage time, if you have that full Sentry, and then on top you get that combo of Well of Radiance for the damage buff and some things.
Already read my mind.
You're going to be putting some work in. So,
buddy, I hope it stacks with Well of Radiance. Oh,
you're honestly just boosting your own stats. You're just max resilience, mobility, and recovery. Yeah. So I mean, the Well of Radiance should give you the overshield and the buff and the damage because they're actually separate. So it should stack. Read it. Yeah.
Ooh, that I said when I read all these perks, I said this class is so me. Because to be honest, like I gave up trying to be a mote collector because everyone's faster than me and steals all the damn motes, and I get frustrated. So I'm like, let me just go back to the bank, and then while y'all over there collecting all the motes, I'm over there collecting the heavy.
Me, I want my heavy ammo finder now for sure. Make sure you are running that. The Taken thing where you kill them with grenade and you get stuff to drop is like a must. So go run Last Wish for that. But that's the other piece that kind of emphasizes how important heavy ammo is in this game. Absolutely. If you get those heavy ammo drops and I'm running with 150 bullets of my machine gun, go invade, do that, come back, pump some damage in real quick, melt some mini ads, pump down. I mean, like if I'm running with heavy continuously, which there were some matches where I really hardly was running out, I'm just running with my machine gun as my primary.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, to a point of being broken, but also like heavy ammo is so important in this. Like if you're going to run Wardcliff coil and you're getting those heavy ammo drops and you finally have 6 shots and you don't kill yourself on a rally barricade, which trust me, I've almost done. But you can pump out like 6 Wardcliff coils into a boss on like, Primeval Slayer, like 3 or 4. It's over.
Yeah.
So heavy is still that make or break for so many things in this game. I mean, even when I was running Shattered Throne, if heavy ammo dropped in my run, I knew I was going to be okay, but I'm not going to try and shoot like Vorgeth with like my pulse rifle and try and I'm not even going to get through like a quarter of his health doing that.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything done with that.
So that's like a problem with heavy being so important that I like the weight of a heavy weapon. It should be, but it's just so like it's a must. You have to have you have to use it.
It's inconsistent, and they have to figure out a balance because I agree. Without it, man, it's really disgusting out there without it.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't drop off all the majors now like it used to, which was at least some consistent piece. Heavy ammo seems to either be like I'm rolling in it or I have 0.
It's no,
like I can't find it or I get none.
Agreed.
Invaders, sorry, the last piece. While invading, ammo slowly trickles into your kinetic and energy weapons over time. That's actually kind of interesting. So if I'm using like a Yotan or a sniper, you're going to be still getting that ammo back. Like I don't know how slowly, but if it trickles while invading, you only have 30 seconds. It's not going to be like ding, 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 ding. But if you get like 3 or 4 more shots, then you'll be okay. Grants an improved invasion overshield. Like, are you freaking kidding me on that one? Like, you're already hard to kill.
That's rough.
I mean, like, damn, dude.
That's rough. Yeah, invaders are strong, man. They are super strong,
man. Killmonger. Each guardian defeated while invading grants a temporary damage bonus once you return to your own area. I mean, if you do it in the Primeval phase and you can time it right, go invade, come back, stand on the Primeval Slayer buff, and go work. But the big one, bank robber, invading. Just invading locks the bank. And then if you stand near it, you drain the moats. Like,
wow,
dude.
Wow. How powerful is that? How game-changing is that? Just your presence locks the bank. And if you happen to be over there, oh, y'all hiding? Let me go over there and drain your bank.
Oh, man.
Could you imagine that? And think about if you have an Invader 15, right? And you tell your teammates, yo, 2-stack deposit moats. Then you go over. So you already got the drain from the 2 blockers, your presence. And if you really want to be disgusting, let's say you're a Titan, you put a Titan bubble.
Oh, yeah. On the bank.
And
yeah,
on the
thing. Like Titan bubble it up.
And that perk. How disgusting is that?
Oh. Fun place for big time, sure.
The salt will be real. The salt will be real.
Yeah, it's gonna be pouring heavy and thick. But I was like, and that's like I've been asking for this type of stuff for forever. So I'm excited. Like, this is a cool, like, different sets of armor for Gambit. It makes things interesting. Like if you run like 2 and 2, or if you have a full even team, or you go 4 invaders, so everybody's just gonna go mess them up. Like,
but we gotta agree though, Reaper's kind of weak comparison.
Reaper's weak. Yeah, like working through here, Reaper needs some love. Like, I mean, a recharge rate to your grenade energy. Okay. Moats lasting longer should be literally like +3.
Yeah.
Like
Reaper needs some buffs. I don't feel this is equal in comparison. No. Like a 15 Reaper, all he's getting is grenade recharge rates.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I know your point's to go like kill the guys, and unless you get like a 10-second buff where you're throwing 10 different grenades and you can just wipe an area, but like even if you do get that for, I mean, I don't know, it definitely feels weak for sure. And Collector has its specialized benefits. You got to know they're there. You're going to play your role. Carrying 20 is like really risky, so I'd probably run Collector only with a coordinated team.
Yeah,
who can defend me, who can know that I'm going to be there, who's going to sacrifice, who's going to defend me, because that giant blocker may be a big deal. But yeah, Reaper needs some work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like this just shows like armor sets are possible. They finally figured out a way to do it. Hopefully,
Yes.
a buttload of these in Destiny 3 or whatever the hell's coming next.
I think this is test bed for D3.
Yeah, that's sadly what all this is test bed for what's coming. And
I
unfortunately, it's really limited in scope, and that kind of hurts its use in everything else, which sucks.
Mhm. Yeah, man.
So yeah, that's pretty much everything for Destiny 2, guys. It is fun. Like Gambit Prime is cool, has its mix. Reckoning is going to be interesting when you get to tier 3.
Mhm.
It just depends. It's one of those, if you want to jump in, do some powerful gear, slowly grind up over time, and if you want to play other games, hey,
Mhm.
spend your Tuesday doing some powerful stuff, maybe do a couple matches, see how the Reckoning's going, and try some of that stuff and mix it up. But I
Mhm.
would probably say you don't have to rush anything,
Right.
which is unfortunate. And if
Mhm.
you're like pulled away by other games, not a lot is going to change because unless you're one of those who raids a ton, your level is just going to take some time and just do it over time.
Mhm.
Which is a weird thing to say about Destiny when I play it.
It's so weird to say, like, to walk away from it. I completely agree.
Yeah. So but yeah, that's kind of where we're at in the state of Destiny 2. We'll see. It's like I'm intrigued with some of the stuff coming next week. That has me more excited after this kind of first week of
Yeah.
more of the quests and 9 and those things will give us more to do because I think some of those allegiance quests from one of the I think Houndish was like there's 11 steps to that stuff. I don't know if it's time gated. I don't know if you have to go through it all, but that's a lengthy piece of like that's at least going to be something to do. So cool story, maybe some lore in there. So I'll be curious about that.
Yeah.
So that'll be something to experience.
I can't wait. I'm actually looking forward to that big time. I'm looking forward to the lore aspects, the Vanguard quest, the Allegiance quest, that kind of stuff. And like I said, better than let's be clear, this is better than the Forge so far. Just it's an early stage.
Yeah,
And
did
but
get to play the content. The onboarding's not just broken.
yeah, they did some quality of life stuff. It's cool. This is fun. We're having a good time. But again, we don't want to sugarcoat the flaws. I'm glad we did talk about that we put that out. And like I said, get in there, get out, get what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? And then we got 2 other games to talk about.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to briefly touch on Anthem and basically go over some. Apparently, I had a lot of windows open. We had some patch notes. So they have a stream that they just got finished. So Tuesday, the patch is supposed to hit for what they talk about here, and they also discuss some other things that are in the works. So for the patch on March 12th, lots of crash fixes, including the one that's shutting down of PS4s. BioWare is saying that no PS4s have been permanently damaged from the issue, which some have claimed, but the shutoff problem should be fixed. Now, it should not have happened in the first place. My brother was telling me during the demo or the beta when he played it with my nephews, like he sounded like he was getting audio glitches because the damn thing was so hot.
Yeah.
So optimization with this game, especially on like the low consoles, is rough for sure. So that's the thing, and PS4 is taking the heat on this one of like we struggling over here just to turn on. So that is a major issue. Is like whether I have fun in the game or not on PC, and I've had a decent run at it. This is bad.
Thank you. I was waiting for you. I'm like, you defense forcing for a bit. I was just like, let me hear what he's gonna say.
My run on PC, because I have a butt ton of fans in my rig, and I have a radiator, and I can keep it cool. But a standard PlayStation that this game still comes out on, if you got the on edition, you beta tested the game for a week, you got a day one patch, and then you've got like your PS4 trying to take off and then just melt in your lap. Like, people over there literally crying on their PS4 just to try and cool it off right now. Like it's a problem. And I'm like, I mean, you've heard me talk about it. I enjoy like the foundation of Anthem, but I haven't actually been as pushed to play it this week because honestly, between work and Gambit and other things, I've been trying some other stuff. And I know it's going to be there, but the way they are working on fixing things, it's one of those that, if I give my like, hey, what's Anthem like after 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to be like, give it another month, maybe. Like, see where things are stacking in May, or wait for like mid-April, and then see what the new stronghold's like, see if they kind of tweak some of the drops, see if the gear gets a little more variety, and then when the cataclysms, when we get a little more information of what that's that might be your time to jump in. Maybe if you have burned out on.
That's when I come back consistent.
Yeah, and that's
I want to play to see how things are with these patches in effect. But let's go down the list real quick. Let's get
so quick run. So there was something saying like a level 1 weapon was outperforming in game. It was some bug just for like damage numbers weren't showing right. So that was just bizarre that somebody had it to test. 30-second now this is big. The 30-second respawn timer in missions, like that's just quality of life that had to happen. I mean, the Nightfall you can't res for certain reasons, but I mean, you eventually can get back up there. And they realized, like, if you're in a group activity, especially match-made random people, which a lot of people are doing, you have to be able to get back in at some point. A downtime, so it's like there's like some gravity to death is fine, but yeah, I got to get back in the fight at some point. I can't sit there and wait 5 minutes for people to ever have a chance. So
yes, that was a horrible flaw. That I'm glad is on this list. All right, what else we got?
So you'll be able to launch missions anywhere in Fort Tarsus rather than walking all the way to your javelin. Thank you, because even the walk in there is slow. Common and uncommon items will stop dropping at level 30. So you're gonna get blue, purple, or above. So I mean, at 30, once you start getting like Masterworks and stuff, that's really all you're going for. I mean, if you get full epic, you're only going for Masterworks. If you got Masterworks, then you're trying to like tweak those and then get legendary. So I mean, the blue and the purple, like not all loot is good, but after a while, you're like, come on. But I mean, every game's gonna do that. But at least taking the whites and greens out of there helps some.
Yes.
They've quick fixed a lot of bugs that do with dead quick play missions, so that's good for people like jumping in and trying to help people, and then those crashing, which kind of sucks for that purpose.
Right.
There's a random stronghold option, and it's Paul Tassi, because this is his article. Though with no changes to stronghold balance, it's like I'm not sure why anyone would run this, because again, Tyrant Mine is the one everybody knows and runs quick. The others are just so much longer. They've fixed most sound bug situations, server shutdown messages. Those were literally like every 5 minutes, and it'd be for 2 hours. Like if you were doing a mission for a while, it's just going to pop up and pop up. And it's like they want you to finish the activity, like, you know, go back to the forge or exit out or whatever, like in 2 hours. But I don't need to see it all the time. Maybe towards the end, like, hey, you got 30 minutes. Hey, you got 15. You got 10. You got 8. Like if you got 10 minutes to finish an activity, yeah, figure it out. But outside of that, you should know.
I agree.
Bugs that makes your ultimate look like it's full, like when you start a play session, that's gone, because that was annoying. I'd be like, it's always the first time, and then it was fine, but it was really, really frustrating.
Is this I don't see the Storm Ultimate Unlimited glitch on this. The one that Glad got banned for.
That whole thing. Is he still banned? Actually, I don't know where that is.
He's not. I put the thing out. Yeah, basically it was like a 2-week thing. He did get banned initially. I guess it was because of the Storm, whatever glitch. It was a kind of messed up situation overall. Don't agree with it. I mean, let's be real. This is BioWare. This is a glitch in their game.
Yeah.
To kind of ban a guy for, you know, doing a glitch, you know, that's really messed up. And I'm very disappointed actually that happened. But he's unbanned currently right now. Again, you know, he's not that happy. You know, he made it very clear, you know, and in Philly should have been banned in the first place. A lot of people agree, but I'm very concerned because I saw that ultimate thing, and nowhere on this list am I seeing the Storm Javelin ultimate, you know, being able to use that super over and over. So if that's still the case, then they're banning people for that. We got to pay attention. You know, listen, Dizzy said you exploit, you risk breaking the community guidelines and getting banned. But the problem is this is an issue that's a bug in their game. It's not an exploit. No one's using. I mean, it's an exploit.
The best reference was like the loot cave that I heard.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's a bug in the game based on the developers, then it's up to the developer to fix that game, and you can't punish people for utilizing it. That's just what people are going to do.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, knocking Crota or knocking
Crota off the thing. You think everybody not going to push Atheon off the wall?
It's like it'd be like getting a glitch for doing that. And there's PvP in Destiny where that would actually make a difference when you can get Vex Mythoclast and stuff. There's no PvP in this. You only hurt your own enjoyment as you're farming something. Like that's
absolutely. So we got to keep it true, Anthem guys. Listen, Philly Eagle. He said, listen. Here's the problem, Philly Eagle, and here's the problem, Dizzy. This game, as much as we love it, right, has had a very rough start, right? You get killed in the press. You get killed because there are a lot of fundamentally flawed and broken things with the game. The last thing you want to be doing is banning players from your game. Like that's the last.
Was it like skill ups, like he and his brother when they do Layman Gaming? It's like Anthem bans the only person still streaming it or something.
exactly. Like the player base and the whole mentality of it is so low right now. It's such in a negative media space.
Yep.
The last thing they need to do is that. So I get it to the letter of the law with your end user agreement. I get it. But if you look at other games, Destiny, Division, all that other stuff, if there are bugs by the developer, right? This is a developer flaw and players are doing it, right? They're not using a cheat code. They're not using third-party software. That is on the developer to fix that issue. And that's not here. So I'm warning everybody.
Titan skating been in there?
Exactly. And
people, and that's really like a macro. That's outside of the game where you're kind of breaking inputs to a point that is outside of normal boundaries. Like that would be a point where that's almost more than, I mean, I didn't jump into it, but from what I've gathered, like from what you're saying, I need to watch the video at some point, but it's literally just him using functions or breaking something in it. But again, it's like you're not affecting anybody else's playtime but your own.
Exactly.
So I mean, if you want to go, what's up, Monkey Punch? If you want to go and like farm the crap out of Masterworks and run yourself out of like time, then that's kind of your own choosing. It's like, as there's not PvE, I feel like it was less necessary than most games. Like Division, if you've glitched something out, you're just gonna go destroy people in the occupied dark zone. New one like that issue, or
you can't say exploit in a PvE game. You're not affecting another player. Like you just said, like you're not, if you're doing something that is giving you a distinct advantage over another player on some type of PvP, I get that. But this is literally just, something in the game that should be fixed to stop you from getting unlimited supers. Like that's on the dev. There's no way around that. But I've said my piece.
Yeah. Alex just going to town over there. It's fine. Let's see. Glitches that lock people behind walls. Again, like stuff like this obviously shouldn't be there. Bugs that made it look like your ultimate bar. So you can prime Titans, so you'll do more damage to them overall. That's a good thing because Titans are like a big piece in the game, and there was just kind of spongy. Sit back, snipe, dump a super, sit back, throw stuff at them, but you couldn't get the extra pieces on there, which you wanted to be able to do. Mark of Ruin works now. I don't even know. Gunslinger's Mark works now. They've kind of fixed the bugs. I think those were just some like buggy and that was the thing. Like one of the guns where my buddy had a pistol where he could like dodge as the storm and dodge again and have like a pistol shot hitting for 50,000 damage, something insane, and that he wasn't banned for. But that's just literally the same thing where it's like it was double stacking whatever the buff was, and he didn't get it and people weren't. I mean, it's because he went public with it, probably is why they felt like they, but it was like, it's just, that was a poor decision. Melees and ultimates should now do more damage. Thank you for my interceptor.
That's
and ultimates as well. Like sometimes you pump out an ultimate and you're like, I'm like, I'm epic level damage going into hard content. I should probably be able to put some work in, and it's like less than I feel like I should. And then shout out to Paul Tassion. Like the Ranger is a weak class. They need to buff it. Ranger cooldown, grenade cooldown, wind wall and Ranger dome actually block higher. Base damage of masterwork bump, weapons bumped generally. So they're trying to make things more powerful, give you a better feel, which is good. Things that they talked about in the big stream, which I haven't watched yet, but thanks to Tassie for wrapping it up. Difficulty balancing for Grandmaster 2 and 3. Right now, it's not worth your time. Because Grandmaster 1 can drop Masterworks and Legendaries, and there's not really a worthwhile point. Not like Grandmaster 3 is going to be like, hey, you're going to get like 6 Legendaries from this run. Sweet. You might get 1 from GM1. Okay, that might be more worth my time. Fair. But right now, it's not. So they got to look into that. Stat page being looked into. I don't know. Did you see my tweet? There was somebody put one together. It would be amazing, like if I can find that tweet of mine. But they just had like an overall view screen, like, hey, here's my resistances, here's my weapons, and like kind of their little buffs to them. It's just like a big overview of your character, as opposed to like having to go into each node and then see what it is in there. It's like it's a UI thing, and that's something I think Division probably could use a tweak on the UI as well. But yeah, that's getting used to. And this is again where it needed like 6 months to bake. It's obvious.
It's clear.
Like, I mean, the base of the game I do enjoy, but it's like it needed time to bake.
Yeah, it's obvious, and it sucked because, like I said, I don't want to make this a bash fest. I love the foundation of this game. I love what it was attempting to do. I still think there's tremendous potential, And I think they got a shot. They got to turn it around. I mean, one thing is the dev team at least gives you confidence that they are very responsive and reactive. So March 12th, this is coming. Next week. So this is a big list. This is a lot of what people are wanting fixed. So this is the first start. Let's get the foundation cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? And now, just get that content. I am worried about May. Worried about May is a long time for a substantial thing, but at this point, let's get this bad boy working and functional, and let's not overheat no PS4.
Indeed.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
But you've got more world events coming, more changes to respawning, being downed coming, which is a good thing. So more changes on top of the respawning. Masterwork support and gear, there are no support Masterworks, so that's kind of an issue. And new support items coming. Looking into frequency of store rotation. Will be chests that drop cosmetics. That's a cool addition.
Yes,
for sure. And shout out to DY Knox Unleashed for the follow. Thanks. Drop rates being looked at, but they're waiting to see how common uncommon removal goes. So they're going to see what the levels are like, but they're going to test this out. Separate from this, there was a massive Reddit post that I did look at for every single inscription. So they really break some stuff down. There's a lot of craziness in there.
Yeah.
There's a health bug. They said it was supposed to be fixed. Then it wasn't. And then Ben Irving came out and said, we thought it was fixed. It's not. We're looking into it again. And that's kind of a big deal. That health fix, especially for certain classes, or the Colossus having different health bars and stuff up there. That's a huge one for the Colossus. So they said they're looking at the Ranger, which they admit is weaker than the other classes. And just more stuff coming. So they are trying. They're going to be supporting it. They've got the backing to try and be hey, we're going to support this thing. They put money behind it. It was a long time in development. It just got taken out of the oven too early, and it didn't set. So they will keep supporting it. And if you didn't jump on it yet, honestly, it may be a time to wait till how the next couple of months go in patches. I know they're going to be working their ass off and see what Cataclysm's like. You'll have a new stronghold at that point. You'll have cosmetics. You'll have the character progression stuff that they're looking into. So there will be more then. And it's a shame it released without all of these things and with the poor launch. If it would have launched with another stronghold, the Cataclysm was coming, like a raid. Hey, 2 weeks later, we're going to have the Cataclysm. The timing of that felt like a better full complete launch. We're about to talk about another game that's just going to smash the doors off things. They would be in a better place. And EA probably just was the point where you have to launch now. And they're probably we don't want to. Things are broken. You have to. Okay, here we go. And that's all that. They just got to hold on for the ride. And unfortunately, now they're just in a level of crunch time for probably 6 months to try and save this thing. So it's I feel for BioWare. I don't think they wanted to put something out that was broken. If they had the choice, but there's time constraints and things, and that's what it is. So Anthem's got some work to do. There's another game though that's been putting in some work, and it's called Division.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, where do you want to start? I'm just going to leave this on screen because it's kind of a cool image to see all the stuff you got. But where do you want to start with what we got coming with Division 2 next week? And by the way, I'm out of town next week, so I'm going to be delayed.
Yeah, man.
So I'm going to be doing my PC thing on my own.
wait, no. There's been some developments thanks to Lord Addict. I am the owner of a free copy of the PC version. I never got a chance to talk to you. I know you had the DCP stuff, so I'm going to be playing on Xbox predominantly. But if you do want to play, and like I said, I do have a copy now. So shout out to Lord Addict, my man's hooking me up that AMD special, that AMD love. You know what I'm saying? Shut up, Dizzy. He's hating. Here comes. As soon as we start talking to him, we're gonna get 65 Dizzy tweets about how he hates Ubisoft. So just warning you guys now. Where's BK Bedtime? Got it when I need him. Anyway, but yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff. This infographic is a ton of stuff. I'm not going to go into every aspect because we'll be here all day, and this is seriously, aka long point right now. But
half already.
The gist of it, gear score, specializations, exotics are coming back, skill variants, all that stuff. Oh, shout out to Forte. He's doing PC and Xbox too. My bad. All right. So yeah, player equipment mods, they really break down the basics. But what I actually wanted to dive into is I wanted to give a shout out actually to my boy Snaldo, who was actually in the chat earlier. He's got a great article up right now, and that's up on our site, Lognet, which is lordsofgaming.net. And basically, what it is right now is they had a state of the game stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be full disclosure. As much as I've been pom-pomming for Division, they got to work on their streams. Like, no disrespect to no community manager. It's just that I come from Bungie and I know what a stream, you know what I'm saying? That high level production. And it's just, they got to work on that. They got to work on, making it snazzy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not there with it. But anyway, back to what I was saying.
I got it up on stream now. So.
All right, cool. You got it up on stream. So, yeah, man. So pretty much what it is right now, there's a lot going on, as far as the what to do after level 30, right? That to me, we know there's raids and other stuff, but I didn't realize there was so much more stuff. Yeah, shout out to Gaming 14. Yeah, their streams are boring as hell. Thank you for I didn't want to go there. I agree. So I'm glad my man Petey, he stuck it out. He wrote a great article pretty much summarizing what they talked about to get the juicy stuff. So pretty much what it is, level 30 and beyond. So what we did know is that remember that extra faction, the Black Tusk, is coming, right? So we get to see how the map changes, how things and world tier missions start. Now, what he says is that in Division 1, world tier made everything harder. But in Division 2, the world tiers are locked behind strongholds, which are locked through 2 invasion missions that you have to complete. Now, these strongholds, which I didn't realize going in the game, are focal points throughout the leveling process. To complete world tier 3, you must complete the stronghold of Tidal Basin. That they want you to feel like you're always under the gear score to feel a challenge in the game. So it's a progression, right? You've got to have that, you got the stronghold, you got the invasion missions, you see here, you got the Roosevelt Island, the Capitol building, the District Union area, and they got these requirements and gear score requirements for that. You know what I mean? So this way, it says it once you make the world feel alive, it's a push and pull dynamic with the factions throughout the map. And then once you get to level 30, you go back to the base, and that's when you get the specialization. Now, as we explained last word, the specializations actually for Destiny guys, think of them like a subclass unlock, right? And you get to pick which route you want to go. And we do know with the couple of content drops, they're going to be adding more of these.
So they've got 3 more planned.
Yeah, man, which is really cool. And each have their own path tree. You know what I'm saying? If you click on these images, you'll see, a couple of stuff like that they're talking about. And it's just really cool. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a really cool in-game kind of mechanic with that. And yeah, man, then they're talking about, with the world tiers. Now, I don't know if you guys remember with the settlements in the game. There's settlements in the game. There's people in the game that pretty much have to, like, you can assist. And then when you do jobs and missions for them, they actually help you fighting. Like, you can pull up, if you're getting, besieged by a certain faction, you're out in the world, you can shoot a flare in the air and these actual NPCs come and help you. Right, which is really cool. So now they're talking about as you go on with these world tier 1, they're talking about bounties, and they're talking about also having the dailies and weeklies, kind of like a Destiny. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a new thing where it's a mission to kill all 52 name bosses, and it's gonna be crazy. Like the vibe that I'm getting right now. There's a random merchant also in a Xur kind of frame called Cassie, who says gear walks around the map. It's kind of random. You got to find out where she's at. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff going on, man. And it's really cool to see that every single time they're adding more and more stuff. And it's like, we already heard about the clan stuff last week. You know what I'm saying? Now we're hearing about the world tiers this week. We're hearing about the strongholds. We're hearing about the missions. It just seems like a ton of stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? And shout out again to their petty marketing team. Because as soon as Season of the Drifter launched, boom, here comes an info blast. Boom, here comes a trailer. As soon as they have to launch something, boom, here comes an info blast. Boom, here comes. They're so petty, but in a good way. Like, they're playing to win. Like, but regardless of if it's going to be successful or not, whatever happens, it's kind of funny to me that whoever's in charge of the marketing team, they are on it. They don't want you to forget that this game's coming.
Oh yeah, no.
That's pretty much what I got, man. Listen, at the end of the day, we got to see, if it's executed, correctly. I mean, if it's executed well, but on paper, as it stands, it's a ton of content. It's a ton of very content, and a ton of stuff to keep grinding. And we'll see. We'll see. We're getting close. What we got? March 20. What's our release date looking like? Was it
15th?
Oh, the 15th. Is it the 15th already? Because it's the early. Is it next Friday already?
Yeah, it's March 15th. Yeah.
Why am I thinking?
I'm out of town.
Why am I thinking it's the 22nd? Oh man, wow.
Sekiro's the next week, but yeah, it's okay. It says initial release date March 15th. Hold on, I hate it.
Let's double check that. Let's double
getting the full like 3-day early access gold edition. Is that what you're doing?
Oh yeah, I'm doing super deluxe, extra cheese, extra sauce,
extra
all
cheese.
That. All that's going down. Yeah.
Hold on. Apparently, I have to be old enough to look at this website.
Yeah.
I'm like, how old am I, guys? Come on.
Yeah, man.
Well,
can't find it.
I mean, it says initial release date March 15th. I just don't know why it says initial release date.
Yeah, I wonder if it's an early access thing. I gotta double check. But
I'm trying to look real quick.
Shout out to Cat Daddy. Shout out to a lot of people in your chat. I mean, I think that listen, we got to keep expectations. But I will say this: shout out to War Blackjack. He said it like, if this launches fine, as far as a strong launch, not major issues, like the Anthem launch or whatever, stuff like that, and as long as the game is functional, there's going to be a strong base. There's going to be a strong base for this. There's going to be people, like I said, I know we've had this discussion about the, boots in the ground. I want to get too deep in that because we'll go forever on that. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that there is a strong base that is going to love this style of gameplay. You know what I'm saying? This is not for everybody, but there is a strong base that loves it. So again, if they execute, there's a couple of ifs. If the launch is smooth for the most part, and things are working, and they get rid of the audio bugs, and they get rid, what I'm saying? Because they had audio bugs too. I gotta call it true. There was some glitches. What I'm saying?
I mean, there's some ramps that I can't turn off of sideways.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff in the world, like if it's a slight incline, like somewhere in the middle, I just go off to the left, I'm hung. I'm like, come on. Like, so I mean, there's like world stuff like that I feel like it was something I really didn't feel as much in Division 1. I feel like the world indeed 2 isn't as polished, and I can't quite figure out why. It did feel better in the open beta. So I saw Boom Slang, he big Division guy previously. He was saying it's like something about it, I don't know, it just feels different. I jumped in and it did feel a little snappier, like some of the stuff I was saying in the private beta, like something felt off, and it did feel better this time around for me. So that was something that I noticed. I was like, okay, something's feeling a little more right, like kind of feeling like I can kind of do what I'm trying and wanting to do.
Hold on. Forte says March 12th. It's for the Gold and Ultimate Edition. Standard is the 15th.
Oh,
Tuesday.
So Tuesday.
Boy. Oh Lord, my life's over.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Once again, talking about the whole like everybody gave Anthem crap of like the launch. I mean, it was a week versus 3 days. Their continual content is going to be on the same time for everybody. If you get that gold annual pass, whatever, you get 3 days early access to each piece of content, to my knowledge.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's kind of one of those things. Like if you get 3 days early access to a raid in Destiny, that'd be kind of a thing. So I'll be kind of curious what that does for just kind of the feel of when the launches be like, did you get the pass? No. I guess I gotta wait 3 days. Let me go watch it on somebody else's. It's just some of those, like, when it's big content drops, it's annoying that, like, hey, here's this new thing coming out. Well, I'll go watch the streamers play it for 3 days first. I didn't get the annual pass. And that's an annoyance, not even just specifically Call in Division. That's just everybody.
Yeah.
Like the time piece of like paying a little bit early or whatever. Like if you're gonna have content, if I pay for it, just let me get the content at the same time. Like paying like money to get it 3 days early is that's a weird for me personally.
Yeah, that's a new thing that seems like the whole industry is doing though. Like this is across the board. This whole pay to get in early, like everyone's doing it.
Yeah, I mean Anthem did it for PC, or they and that's them for EA trying to sell their EA Origin Premier. Be like, hey, get on PC a week early, and you get to beta test it apparently. But that was a different thing. So we'll see. I mean, It's got a lot. I mean, as I go through, you get the armor sets and stuff. Sometimes I feel ridiculously overwhelmed by like having to scroll through the weapon on the side to see what perks are available. Like the UI for me is the thing that I would like to see tweaked, because trying to see what information is going on with my character takes a long time to figure out. Like that's my piece that sadly, like while I know Destiny is simplified, but man, the UI is just clean and it works.
Right.
And that's one thing for me that and almost the way it was before, you had the 3 big pieces up top saying like weapon damage, armor, and I know they kind of changed the way that stuff works, but there's just there is a ton of stats, and you can min max like crazy in this game, which is a good thing for those who want to. Right. And it's totally a nice piece about it. But unfortunately, when you get to the point of like, what's going on with my character? It's not
that difficult now.
There are pieces. I mean, but if you
like it's like braille text, like it's hieroglyphics. Look, this is an RPG, man. Let's just get to it now. Let's just act like this is so unlegible.
Okay, but it's like I just need a point on my character, and maybe I just didn't find the right menu to say like maybe there's a place on the character like, hey, plus crit percentage currently is like plus 25%, and it just adds it all together. And I feel like there was a screen like that in D1, and I just didn't dig that deep into the menus to know if it's
talking about the same man we talking about with these Anthem menus. Was this the same man that's on this podcast?
I never said the Anthem UI is good either. We're back to like the Xbox One Blade system. I'm like, how is that like
anything affects or means?
No, believe me, that's why they like that's when they're looking at like the tweet that I sent out that somebody had like made their own character info screen. I was like, that should be a thing. Like, like whoever did this image, like talk to them, pay them some money so they're cool to use it, and put that crap in Anthem, because that's the same thing. It's a main screen saying, hey, I've got poison resistance and arc resistance. My weapon over here has, a bonus to these damages. I've got bonuses to my general suit, and you can see everything in one place. Like if I want to deep dive into a certain weapon, cool, but I need a place to get a general overview of what's going on is all I'm going for. And then there may be just honestly a piece of the menu that I missed, which I'll be totally honest.
There's gear score. There's all of that's there. Like it's literally there. Like we got to stop acting like it's so hard to find. It's just you're not used to their menus. You just don't play the game. You're accustomed to what you're accustomed to. But it's all there, man.
Yeah, but I just little things like double click on the weapons to get the mods in. Like, let me just go to it and click on it. And like then I can pick like what I'm going to put in there. It's just the single and doubles and stuff. Just little feels of the UI for me that are tweaks. But I mean, overall, like I think I got a decent sniper, so I'm putting some damage out when I ran through. I ran the level 30 again this time with the grenade launcher. No, I did the crossbow. And it's still that feel of like you break the armor, those dudes die fast. Like, and it felt when I had whatever build that was, which is I don't know what the gear score was, like 350-ish, somewhere in there.
I know the marksman rifles are no joke. Yo, I have me a marksman rifle. Yep. Whoo, man. Which skills were you using, by the way? I'm curious.
So I went survivalist for the end game one. So I had literally both the healing little ball, and then I had the armor drone. So I had both on that one. But normally for me, I would run armor drone because I can float, even though it is risky because I didn't have the little ball that I could use. And then also I had the turret, because I like the turret to give me some counteraction between like my position and somebody else's, because I'll run solo a lot. So that's usually my build for those pieces is another direction of fire that they're going to turn at for a little while. Yeah. And that's just one of those things I wish I could like beef up and give some health to. So, but yeah, that was my one, is usually health for me, which just seems like totally required, because man, the armor like packs that you get, or the armor that you put back on yourself that takes a little while, you need some way to heal up like big time. So
because they're making it. I know what you mean. Those armor.
You get tagged, you're like, whoa. Yeah. So yeah, that was my two. What were you running?
I'm right now. I actually messed with two different. I still love my sniper turret. That thing is really powerful.
Okay, how is that thing? Because you have to manually target, and I kind of noticed that with the other turret, where if like I'm looking around and I hit E, and that basically will target the thing. Right. How is that with the sniper? Is it like pretty powerful?
Again, once the sniper, it's super powerful. Once you line up what you're aiming at, right? So basically, you shoot at an enemy, you'll see over his head. In your case, it's probably saying press E. On console, it's saying like press right bumper, right? Yeah. So then once I press right bumper, the sniper turret then lines the person up, right? Now, once that means it's going to pay attention to where he's going. Now, once I tell it again, like he pops himself out, and I press that right bump and that bump again, then it fires the shot. So you
So
still
you have to fire it yourself?
you have to manually control it. At least that's how it felt on console. I don't
Oh,
know
damn.
on
I'll
PC.
have to try. I mean, I'll try it at some point because
It
I
is
just,
super powerful.
huh.
Super powerful. You can take chunks down, man. It is very. You just gotta coordinate how you're gonna do it. It's really effective. So I was doing that. I messed around with. Oh, I messed around the first time I did the roller mine. So when
Yeah, not a fan of either of
I
those.
didn't like it. I didn't like it as much. I mean, it's powerful, but I'm like, I didn't really. It didn't fit my play style. So what
Yeah.
my new play style is now, I'll do sniper turret for long distance,
Mhm.
control zoning, and then when you know how you always get those NPCs that run down on you, that I was like,
Oh,
ah,
yeah, the one, I'm just crazy.
yep.
Yeah.
Now what I do is I use because in the open beta they gave us another class, and it's this thing where you put on the ground. It's like a bomb, but it's like almost like this styrofoam thing, and it sticks them in place. So anybody who's
Yeah,
aggressive,
the chem launcher, and you get
yes,
yep.
yes. So I throw the Kev launcher down. So they want to rush. All right, come rush. Now you're gonna stay in place, and you're gonna get this work. And I love it. Now I just wish it lasts like a second or two. It probably lasts about 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was pretty short. I did try that once. I think I was messing around because the Kim launcher they opened up for the open beta.
Yeah.
And yeah, it felt short, like brief. Like if I need to lock down like something, it needs to last for a long
Yeah.
time.
What I'm
Like a
hoping,
slot.
what I'm
Like,
hoping is a lot of the upgrade paths are not available in the beta. You know what I'm saying? A lot. I'm curious to
yeah,
see.
and you can map your skills, right? I saw that kind of pop
Yeah,
up through
I
there.
want to
I
see
got
where that goes, man. And like I said, the specializations, that's something that excites me. Like I said, the gear sets. Again, here's the thing. And I'll say it last time. This is very much RPG mechanics. Now I get it with you guys not liking, menus. I can't argue. Hey, if you don't like menus, you don't like menus. I can't, argue that. That's just
but it's deep. Like that's what
right. That's
there's
all
like
I'm saying. Like, the
skills, getting
stuff y'all
mods, and then like
complain about Destiny's supposed to have, these boys got it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter. You just gotta dive in there, and it's how serious you want to take this game, right?
yeah.
If you really want to get in there, you want to spec towards that build, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want, even with the armor sets, like Destiny just playing around with these little,
Armor sets, yeah.
armors, that ain't Division been doing that. Like it's like they trying to Division is looking at their armor sets like, fam, get on my level. You not nowhere near what we're doing. Like their legendary gear has 2 or 3 stacks based on what you put on and how it affects. So again, they're way more advanced with true RPG. You can know life just configuration, right?
Oh, I mean that recalibration. You've got skills with skills mods and skill variants. I mean your perks and stuff like that. Like that's a cool thing too, and that's one thing I think Anthem didn't have at launch, which again, early baking.
Yeah, absolutely.
The actual pilot skill, like points and skills that like they took out, and I think that's something of that progression to bring it back. The perks that you like, hey, you unlock this, and then when you open a chest, you have a 50% chance at this, and then the way the mods work for like scopes or things like I unlocked half of those just by playing, and you're not waiting on these drops again. You're just like, hey, I have the scope, I can always put it on my weapons, and the percentages are other places, which I'm kind of okay with.
Yeah,
I always hated like, oh, I'm waiting for another scope so I can put on this weapon or buy it. It's like mods are there, which like they've done a lot of good things. And this is a game crafting. Yep.
We didn't even talk about craft. We haven't even talked about exotic. There's so much stuff I'm not even talking about that's in this game. Like I said, for features, there's no. Sorry, I gotta call again. Features, nothing's messing with this game. The question is just going to be execution. That's really all it is. Everything that they're offering is everything all the other games are offering and more combined. Just features, just base game. I'm not even talking about modes. Base game. Like none of these, what Destiny, what you call these guys. I mean, Anthem's doing crafting. You know what I'm saying? But again, the recalibration. They have exotics. Now, is it going to be exotics like Destiny? You know damn well it's not. I'm not going to go.
Right. And that's kind of the difference of like, what are these things? I mean, the legendaries in Anthem aren't like mostly game changers. I mean, they add like a variance on it, but I mean, you don't have like a shiny gold weapon, or you don't have a fireball that now splits into 3. You don't have like those, the flare of like Wardcliff coil. That is a different animal entirely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Anything. So, I mean, those are pieces, and like the way exotic armor, like some of that stuff will well, crap, your new little mini art turret sounds terrifying.
Oh yeah,
like those are game changer pieces, and some of the exotics will be like, hey, here's more damage or an extra perk, and there'll be a thing to go for. But I mean, really, it's like the exotics will be like the cherry on top of like a sundae that you have configured to like, the max. Like, so you get to customize every little ounce of your sundae, every little sprinkle, every little graham cracker flavor, chocolate chip. And then the cherry on top is exotics with your gear sets and everything else. So, I mean, no, like your time that you can spend in this game, if you like this and it launches well, you could lose so many hours in this thing because you're going to go World Tier 2, World Tier 3, World Tier 4, Gear Zone, Dark Zone. Like, they have a lot. They really do. So if this is your jam, you're going to be jamming in it for a while.
Yeah. And like I said, don't underestimate the base. That's all I'm saying. Just don't underestimate the base. We're going to learn a lot when they launch. We're going to learn a lot. I mean,
like Tefty and Briar were like, guess what I'm playing? Yeah.
Everybody, like I said, I know you are in the minority. I know Dizzy's in the minority. A couple of people I know is in the minority. The rest of the world is ready for this game. Like they've been wanting. This is the division game they wanted. And I'm telling y'all right now, I call this. I'm just keeping quiet. As long as they launch right, so people better get low. The other games better get low. And I'm telling you right, if they launch right and there's nothing fundamentally broken and it's working, watch out for your player base. That's all. And then we're gonna revisit these conversations. And I'm gonna screenshot all these messages Dizzy saying. I'm a screenshot. I'm just gonna come back with the numbers. And I'm gonna say, remember that stuff y'all was saying. And I'm telling y'all, they're coming. They are coming. Trust me. So let's see how this plays out.
Yep. So yeah, I was like, if it's on the 12th, I guess I gotta look into see if I'm gonna play it that way or not, because then I'd have a couple days before I leave. But
yeah, and I got the PC one, so
I was like, and that's kind of thing though. It's like if I do the 12th, but I've also got like the Allegiance quest to work through. Thorn's gonna get started next week. I was like, I might save Division until I get back, honestly, because I'll be gone for Thursday through Sunday. So shout out to everybody watching right now. Won't be able to do a last word next week just because I'll be out. I will be trying to look into Zur from far because I'm taking my computer with me because that's the start of the 9. So I do want to see what that's all about if I make a video up there. But yeah, like, I mean, as you're saying, this thing has so much depth if you want it. Like if you play level 1 through 30, you play the story, you kind of see the Black Tusk takes over, you kind of fight some of them back in missions. That alone might be enough for some people. And that's probably still going to be a pretty lengthy 40, 50 hours easy. And then if you start like dabbling in stuff, there's probably going to be more. If you don't have an 8-person group, which by the way, putting 6 people together for a Destiny raid sometimes can be hard. Finding 8 is going to be a struggle for some people for sure. So there's going to need to be like division2lfg.net.
Yeah, I wonder if they have, I doubt they probably have matchmaking, right? You think they're going to do matchmaking?
Oh, on a raid would be okay. If the raids have things that are worthwhile, you shouldn't have matchmaking because it might be a train wreck or you need voice talking or what.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the balance of like how hard is the mechanics of the raid to a point where like you need to communicate. Like, I mean, if you think of the taking king fights and stuff like that, like you have to chat. So if it's to a point where you need that, then I mean, LFG or matchmaking or something like that may be a thing to look at. But even if you don't get to play the raids, there sounds like just a butt ton of stuff to do roaming around world tiers, leveling up in there and stuff like that. So one of my issues is I like how there's a lot where I don't have to run into the dark zone because that feeling still sucks.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying like as a solo player, it will suck.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree. I disagree with that, but that's just your experience, and I can't disagree with your experience. I can. Again, a lot of stuff comes down to understanding, and if you're willing to put in the time and
I understand how the game works,
I don't believe you on Division, bro. I'm sorry. I gotta call Frodo, but you my boy. I love you,
dude. I played a butt ton of Division 1 probably, and like in the dark zone, like running through with friends.
Rolling my eyes. I was like, no, that is no longer a thing. No, that's not a thing. But again, y'all living in Division 1 pass. You'll see. You'll see. It's not the same.
No, but all I'm saying, it's not even that. I'm just saying, as a solo player in the dark zone, whether it's normalized, whether it's not, if it is especially normalized, if you are by yourself against other people as a team, this is from a solo player's perspective, solely nothing else. The same way Gambit sucks as a solo player, the dark zone can suck because they are smaller and a team can get to you quicker.
Okay.
So there are certain things about that dark zone, like, hey, the higher levels will farther away. So if I'm running around like level 1, level 2, kind of doing low level dark zone stuff, because I could, I don't. It's a smaller area for me to try and run away, because
I
if
gotta
there's
put
a team running around in there.
I gotta put you onto some stuff, some loadouts, man. I gotta
Okay.
see what you
I
run.
was like, and then we'll get to it. But I was
Favorite
like, I'm just saying, as a solo player, I was like, literally one of the first things that just reminded me of it too quickly in the beta. I
Yeah.
was running around, hey, exploring the dark zone. Took me literally 10 minutes
Mm.
for a team of 3 on a manhunt to run by, mowed me over. I came back out again at a different door, run around. They ran around, found me again. So it's like that piece of the manhunt.
Mm.
If that's a piece of content, now, not everything's in the dark zones, which is good.
Right.
Believe me, if I don't have to spend my time in there, and a lot of it, you said, the strongholds, the end games, the raids, the PV, like those won't be there. But dabbling in a piece of content that will be towards the end game,
Mm.
that's one of those things. As a, somebody who may not always have somebody to play with,
Right.
that is definitely a struggle in that place.
Right. Because
Like,
your concerns is as a solo player. I get
yeah,
what
absolutely. And that's for the people. And that's what I was like, I mean, come on, that was me last night. I am the solo guy. So I was like, so if you got a team running in there, coordinated, playing with each other, that I could see having some awesome battles, because it's closer, and you could, like, hey, we're going to run after these manhunt guys and we can probably catch them. But as a solo player, I'm like, please God, don't find me. Like, it's literally that, because it's just like, it's defeating to be like, hey, I finally killed some guys. And some of the stuff in the new Dark Zone does, you get to hold on to it, but it's the good stuff you're still going to have to extract. So
yeah, I feel what you're saying.
So, Philly, you said they made one for every preference. Not mine. You could have an occupied where everything's on the board. You could have your normalized one, and then I want my PvE one. I want my PvE only dark zone. Then you could have a 3 rotation.
No, that's what I'm trying to see. That I know you're not playing it. Here's the thing. What Philly Eagle was talking about is that each dark zone, right? When he's saying every preference, there's the close quarters one.
There's the long sightlines.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, until you gotta find your build that you're actually comfortable with, that you can actually go up against some groups and still do damage. You know what I'm saying? And as well as use the PvE aspect to your event, there's strategy. To me, what you're saying is the equivalent of me jumping in comp, getting squashed my first time, and then saying, "That's it, I'm never coming back."
Go jump in comp solo. Tell me how much you get squashed.
But that can apply to any game if you don't know what you're doing.
That's also that's just my point, is the fact that in a place that I'm trying to get loot, not in a PvP where like loot is like either for winning or losing, like it's a point to where if I'm going into an activity area where I can get some loot that may benefit me, but I can get a chance to get it stripped away because I'm running by myself, that hurts.
That's one aspect. That's not the whole new dark zone. Again, there's loot that you have to bring back that old traditional way.
Yeah.
And then there's loot. There's
from my suspicion, because at least the way the drops were working when I played, the good stuff had to still get extracted. Normal, that's okay. What am I going to spend the end game in? Okay, fine. 1 month from now, I want you to walk in the dark zone by yourself and tell me how that experience goes.
I'm bringing on some division there, because there's a lot of miseducation on the last word.
That's all I'm saying is 1 month from launch.
Anthem stuff. I've been dealing with the Destiny. We gonna bring some division guests. I'm gonna bring a panel, because clearly people have not been playing this game and understand how things work. So we gonna have to change that up starting the next couple of weeks now that division launch, because I am tired of this slander.
I have a very specific circumstance. I just got done praising most of this game. I'm just saying the dark zone for me, especially because they literally have 3. Okay. You could have a PvE, you could have your normalized, and you could have your occupied. You literally could serve the world at that point, even the solo player who just wants to be like, hey, the dark zone, I want to go explore.
You got your bag took the one time and everything sucks. That's basically what you say.
I got my bag taken 6,000 times in Division 1, and that's why I hated it there too. So it's that feeling of like just getting jacked by guys that are running around trolling people because they're bored.
Okay.
So no, that's what I will say. 1 month from launch, I want you to go into the dark zone by yourself and tell me how that feels.
It's literally the equivalent of me doing Shadow Throne by myself. One time getting wrecked by the first couple of ads, and then throwing my controller and saying, "This sucks."
But that's something you can eventually get better at.
You can get better at. You just don't know what you're doing, and we're going to bring some people in to educate you. So that's going to be the goal. That's the new thing.
Okay, if you're fully stacked and maxed out, and 3 people are fully stacked and maxed out, I'm sorry, but my hunch is you're going to lose that battle 9 times out of 10, if not more.
I'm going to bring some people in starting next week.
Of equal skill and numbers, just 3 versus 1, you're going to lose.
I'm going to bring some people in because there's too much slander. There's too much miseducation going on. People still talk about Division 1 stuff. We have to bring. I've heard the Anthem crew. It's time for the division to move from the bottom half of Last Word to the middle with some right educated information, and that's what we're going to do starting next week. Because I've been getting
not next week, the week after, so we'll have plenty of time because I'm out. Week after, we will put Division 2 right there in bullet point number 2.
Daddy. Thank you for saying that. The builds will engulf you. People don't understand. That's why I'm just laughing. I'm just like, it's just so much misinformation, and people are acting like this is fact, and this is how
you're just trying to argue one point on me, and I don't.
But that's your whole purpose of saying like you're not going to play. And it's just
no, that's literally not. How many other things did I just say were good? You're going to dive in. I'm going to enjoy the fact that I can go run strongholds and work on my builds and recalibration, and raids are a thing that I don't have to worry about this. I'm just saying that piece of the Dark Zone still like burned me. And then I walked in and I'm just like, it still has that feeling. There's like 85% of the game that's still awesome. And I'm looking forward to a lot of it, and I'm going to play it because believe me, I play all of these, but that's just the one piece that still as a solo, and that's what I'm saying. And you're arguing on me that like a solo player walking into the Dark Zone is going to have a great time, and I'm like,
sure. Yes, they can. Just because you had a bad experience does not scar it for the rest of the world. That's what I'm trying to say. It's literally equivalent of jumping in comp trials for the first time, getting wrecked, and taking your ball and going home because you had a bad experience. That's all I'm trying to say. I get it. It may not be for you, but all I'm trying to say is you don't understand every aspect so that you can get better as a solo player. That's all I'm saying. Let's try to get the information to try to get better as opposed to saying it sucks. That's all I'm saying. Now, after that, then we can deal. But we're going to bring some people in.
That's fine. I was very specific on one point, so that was all. But I'm looking forward to a lot of this. So there's going to be not enough time for me to play all these 3 games. Anthem sounds like it may have some waiting to do, so not a big rush, it feels like, on doing some of that stuff. And then Destiny's going to probably have its like weekly shot of a quest, and Tuesday and Friday, and then I'll be probably grinding a lot of Division 2. So in the time that you jump on PC, feel free to say hello.
I will.
But I mean, hey, I'm glad you got a copy, so at least we'll be able to jump in a little bit, because you'll probably no life it on Xbox. And then probably be on my pace on PC, so that'll probably be all right.
Yeah, no, I'm coming. We're gonna do this thing, man.
Be nice if they had cross save though. Then you could just jump in with me and just work stuff over.
Oh my god, I can't wait for next gen. Just in general,
just cross platform. I know can have its issues of like certain things. Cross save. Too many people have APIs and things like that. You just pull data. Bam! I have my stuff. Go. Like. That shouldn't be an issue. So.
I think we're there. We're right at the cusp. Right now we're in the transitionary phase, but we're close.
Well, shout out to everybody who hung out with us for 3 damn hours. This is like our longest last word long point probably ever.
And vote in the community. Can we get Division out of the last topic?
It's gonna move. It's gonna move. It's gonna move.
Shine.
It's gonna move.
Yes, Jesus Christ.
We're gonna bring it up. I don't know if I can't put it at the top though. I can't put it above Destiny, but I'll put it at number 2.
Nothing.
I'll put it at number 2 because right now I feel like it's about to earn that spot big time.
Game that's actually broken at the bottom. Let's get the game that got no content.
The busted game fell to the bottom. Fair point. All right, cool. We can work with that. I can do that. So, all right, guys. Xur is going to be live in literally 5 minutes. So I'm going to switch over and jump on that. Yes. But you guys know where to find us. It's Ebontis everywhere for me. It's Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. If you guys haven't followed, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Please do. It helps us out, of course, in everything that we are trying to do. And to all of you guys out there in both chats, it's been awesome this morning. Thank you guys for the support and hanging with us for this forever long discussion. Follow my Twitter. And if you guys see the YouTube videos, I'm working on audio places for this. It's not been approved on all platforms, but there's a couple that's out there. So even just like anchor.fm, it's an app. You could literally listen to it there. And I'm waiting for like the big stuff like iTunes and Spotify, and cross my fingers that happens. But audio only is coming. So that's in the works.
Nice. Can't wait, man, because a lot of
What
people.
about you?
Yeah, a lot of people requesting that, so that's really cool that we finally got that going. Yeah, man, same old deal. Me at Lord Cognito on Twitter, all that good stuff. The Lord's Day returns on Sunday, and we shall return with the Multiverse podcast. Got a little new series I'm doing where I bring kind of new podcasts on that maybe people haven't heard of, and these guys they've been doing it for a little bit. And they kind of have a unique vein, more of a the timing is good because Captain Marvel is out, and they kind of do gaming as well as comics and stuff like that. So shout out to Anchorman V, Mike P, the Truth, and I believe Nick Marseille. So yeah, we're gonna have 3-man thing, do a little history, some gaming, latest topics, what's going on in the industry. I think Sony's also dabbling with more remote play and also streaming to devices, kind of in the Xbox vein.
Yeah, iOS and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll have the topics about, a whole bunch of varied topics going to be cool. So check us out Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, check out the website if you guys haven't already, lordsofgaming.net. As you've seen,
Absolutely.
Yeah, PD has some great articles. Hopefully, I'm trying to get some more Ebontis walkthroughs up there, man. Get that going. That'd be great. Try to nudge him in that direction. But hey, I'll write him if you don't want to write him. But now, all jokes aside, man, yeah, appreciate the love. It's been cool. We got some great stuff coming with that. And yeah, look forward to us this Sunday. And I also am going to see Captain Marvel as well on Saturday, so I can actually make my assessment.
Well, let me know your thoughts when you see it for sure.
Absolutely, man. But that's all I got.
All right. Well, that is Ebontis and Lord Cognito for the last word, number 52. 1 year's worth for sure. Thank you guys for being on the ride, and hopefully many more to come. So on that word, that is the last word. I'm out.
Peace.